Welcome, everybody, to the Alfalfa podcast. What is this, episode number 214?
I think so.
Yeah, 214.
Yeah.
I am your host for the day, Steven, alongside the bearded one.
Hello.
Got a great episode for you tonight. Not sure exactly where this one is going to go. We'll get some outlines. We're not quite as buzzed as I would like us to be. We're going to hit this
No,
wine.
not for that many technical difficulties.
Yeah,
Let's talk about the... Oh, hey, Mushi. Let's talk about this wine we got for today. Mushi, easy with the tail.
Mushi's in the studio. Mushi's tail's going to put the camera.
He's got a strong tail.
Hi, Mushi. Oh, God.
Okay, so you got some luce. We decided to spoil ourselves a little today, yeah?
We did. We got a nice bottle today. It's
Yeah.
a Super Tuscan, I believe. Luce.
Yeah, I texted my wine connoisseur stepdad and said, "What's your score on this?" And he said, "This is very special." He said, "This is from the famous Frescobaldi family." And he was like, "Yeah, how'd you get your hands on that? That's good stuff." So
That's amazing.
I'm excited.
I love to hear it.
Yeah.
Love to hear it.
4.5 on Vivino, which I was telling you before we recorded that one of the pieces of alfalfa I got from the event I was at last week, which we'll talk about, is that for true like wine scoring alfalfa, Vivino is like peasant rating system. You want to go cellar tracker. That's where all the real wine drinkers spend their time, leave their scores and reviews. And I just downloaded it. It's so funny. The app is like the app was designed by the guy who created the Microsoft error screen.
What?
Yeah,
Like the blue screen of death?
Yeah, this is what I was just told by the guy who
Whoa.
told me. And so it's an ugly app. It's an ugly app. It's like a very Web 1.0 app. It literally looks like an old website. But
Wait. By the way,
alfalfa.
how much work was it to create the blue screen of death? Like, how long did it take the guy?
I really don't know.
Just picking the color blue.
I don't know, but that was a super fun factoid. Let me read it exactly. He said, "Yeah, the guy who built it designed the error window for Microsoft. Ugly, but the data is fantastic." So, shout out to Cellar Tracker.
All right, cool. So Cellar Tracker.
Yeah.
Gonna check that out. Anyway, I think I'm supposed to take care of some business here. I think Nick
of
made a
business
card
you
for
got?
me.
Okay.
Yes, we are live on YouTube, as always, Wednesdays at 5 PST. Oh my God, the power is about to go out on the main laptop.
What?
Yeah, it says low battery. Hold up.
Oh my
Hold up.
God.
Hold up.
dude.
Let me.
Oh my God.
Stream's gonna die.
Should I continue that? Yeah, I'll do that. Live every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific. Normally we're Armand, Steven, Nick, and Eric. Eric. Huge. First one to enter the fourth decade. A very happy birthday, Eric. He is in Jackson Hole, celebrating with family and having a grand old time. I think he's out on the river right now, fly fishing. He's doing it right. Huge. We love you, brother. This is a monumental birthday. And so if you haven't already, send Eric some love. Give him a little happy birthday love in the Discord or Twitter or wherever. Yeah. And Nick is out this week as well. I'll let him explain when he's back. What else should we talk about?
Did you do the ad read?
No, not yet. So, a couple things. You can support the pod. Well, first of all, subscribe if you're here for the first time. You know, welcome to the shit show. Support the pod. A few ways you can get involved. Just comment during the live stream. You can use the YouTube Super Chat or Streamlabs, which is in the description, to make a donation to support the pod. And we do all kinds of fun stuff, like put on events a couple times a year.
We lost the mic again.
We lost the mic.
Wait, how?
Wait, is my audio off? Oh my God.
Bro.
It can't be.
Oh, the road died. What the?
The road died? Bro!
Why?
Oh my God.
It's plugged in.
Oh my God. Let me try.
See you guys later. This is a disaster.
We're literally in recording.
Have you guys supposed to be on like?
Yeah,
We're-
we keep breaking everything.
We're live right now.
Oh, you are.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
There's just no audio. Oh my god.
What are you?
That was fun. All right, look at this.
Oh. All right, I should be back now.
Are we back?
Yeah, we're back.
Jesus. Where did it cut? Did my
I think we missed everything.
everything?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think it's back. I think it's back.
Well,
We might have to just do a take from the top.
right at
For
your
the audio
birthday
editor.
announcement. Yeah, so I'll pick up where I left off. I have no idea if this is repeat. Sorry. This is a top 2 ever Techno Kings.
Oh,
It is
my
Eric's
God.
40th birthday. Huge, monumental 4th decade of his life. If you haven't already, please wish Eric a happy birthday. He's out in Wyoming celebrating with family. He's fly fishing on the river right now. We love you, brother. We're very happy for you. This is huge. Can't wait to hear. He does have some alfalfa on the aging process and some reflections. I just spoke to him before this, and he's got some things to share when he gets back.
Okay, I look forward to that.
Oh, I won't be here next week, by the way. I'll be in Portugal. So you guys will get that alfalfa, and
Must
I'll
be nice, you guys.
listening in.
Just taking every week off,
Yeah.
traveling, living the
Okay,
life.
buddy.
We're here
Okay.
grinding.
Since we've taken so long to get going, let's just get going and dive right into it. Support the pod. You know how to support the pod. Do your thing. Check the description and the links below. You know what to do. Why don't you do the ad read? And then we'll
Okay.
dive right in.
Sure. How hard could it be? We've only heard this like
What
20
else
times.
could go wrong?
As you guys, I'm gonna try to bring some life into it. You know.
Yeah, well, I can tell you. So who is our
Yeah.
sponsor?
Our sponsor. I'm glad you asked. It is none other than ZBiotics.
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 Pre-alcohol.
Yes.
Okay.
What is ZBiotics?
I
You
took
ask.
a box of this with me. It's the drink before you drink. And I
Drink
took a
before you
box
drink.
of this with me to the Invisible Annual General Meeting. This was 160 people, week-long event in Lake Placid, New York. Absolutely fantastic. I hope we get a chance to talk about it a little bit. But, oh my God. One of the night, I actually have two Zbiotic stories. Okay. One is I took it every day except one day, was miserable the day that I didn't take it, and was like, why did I do that? So I thought it'd be like a light night, only had a couple drinks, still woke up feeling awful.
Rookie mistake.
But I have a really funny story. At the Alfalfa meetup in Salt Lake City, I'm standing in the meetup, like our Alfalfa meetup, with Hookem, Jeff. Jeffrey walks in, and one of the first orders of business is I'm like, dude, forgot my Zbiotics. He's like, dude, me too. And we just start like sweating, like with like nerve. He's like, dude, I'm nervous. Like I'm not ready to have a good time. It's like back in my hotel, and I'm like, dude, I know this sucks. And he's like, dude, you know what? I'm going back. I'm going back to the hotel. I have to go get this. I'll bring one for you. We'll have a much better night. Dude just literally like Ubers both ways, runs, goes and gets the Zbiotics, comes back, we slam it, and we have a grand old night. And if he had not done that, we would have had a miserable next day. So thank you, Jeff, for spotting me on the Zbiotics, by the way. And that is like the level it gets to for some people now. It's like we need it that badly because it is really that fundamentally like different without
Yeah,
it.
I have a dependency. TLDR on Zbiotics, for those of you who do not know about it, is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic drink.
Yep.
Designed to help you not feel like crap after a night of drinking. Engineered by a team of PhD microbiologists. We interviewed one of them on this podcast. Great episode. Go check that out. Zbiotics.com/alfalfa. 15% off. Use the code. Help to support the pod. They have a money back guarantee. Even if you don't believe us, give it a try. See how you feel. Thank you, Zbiotics. We appreciate you as always. All right.
Hey, dude.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm gonna grab a glass of this wine.
Yeah?
You're like, oh, we gotta decant it for 5 hours. I was like,
We do.
nah.
We do.
By the way, apologies in advance, everybody, for the video switching. This is so hard.
It's very hard. I tried once, and I'll never do it again.
Yeah, I like how you kicked it to me. Like I'm going to be better.
I believe in you. I really think you'll do a better job than me. I don't think there's worse than I can't. I can't have a conversation and touch that thing.
No, it's fine. I'll just read the ad, run the stream, do the audio.
Oh my God! You guilt tripper. You, wow. All right, let's dive into some things here, dude.
Yeah, let's do it.
How have you been? How have you been?
How are you, buddy?
No, I'm asking
how are you,
first.
buddy?
How are you? You have a bit of a something, a je ne sais quoi. You've got some energy to you. You've got some excitement. I feel some excitement. You're kind of back in the sauce a little bit. You're on the sauce. Like, what's going on? You're cryptoing. You're AIing. Tell me about it. What's your mind been on lately?
Yeah. I've been kind of balls deep in the cryptos
Jesus,
again.
Steven, this is a children's podcast.
Oh, that's not good.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I've been spending like.
That was a joke, by the way. This is not for children
Yes,
whatsoever.
I know. Thank you.
No, I mean for just in case anyone has their kids around. Please, not appropriate. Okay, continue.
Are you done?
This is a conversation, Steven.
I know.
Okay, go ahead.
Excuse me, I'm speaking.
Go ahead.
I'm speaking.
You ever heard that? Remember that? That was so immature of him, but also so well played.
So good.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I've been cryptoing again. Feels like stuff's not dead. The orange man has given me hope. Hope that the bags might stop going down only. And then there's been some interesting developments in the crypto world. I feel like the degeneracy, it keeps evolving. Initially we traded the dog coin, and then we got the JPEGs, and then we got like all sorts of crazy memes, and we did the pump.fun, and I've been diving into lately the AI agent meme coin frenzy. You familiar with this?
Sure, because you told me yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, damn right I did.
Yeah.
So I think we chatted about this a little bit on the pod last week. We talked about the Truth Terminal Twitter account, the AI that Mark Andreessen gave the Bitcoin.
50K Bitcoin, yeah.
Yeah, and a coin was created. I don't think it was created exactly by the AI, but it was, with the AI, and that meme coin GOAT, I think is probably like $600 million market cap right now. So people have been searching for the next thing, and I stumbled across a cool protocol called Virtuals. Have you seen this? Have you heard of it? You watch South Park? Like Jimmy?
I have seen South Park.
Yeah, have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Every time he tells a joke. Anyway. So yeah, I've been digging into Virtuals, and the kind of 10,000-foot view on Virtuals is that it's sort of like, pump.fun. It's kind of like pump.fun, but for crypto AI agents.
Okay.
How's that land with you?
Keep going.
Keep going? Okay, cool. So Virtuals basically provides this sort of infrastructure for people to create AI agents, and the AI agents have their own tokens. They're all kind of contained within the Virtuals protocol, and people can sort of contribute to the agents. I think they can add kind of modules and stuff, and if those contributions are integrated into it, then those creators are rewarded. So there's all these incentives to sort of build these agents and make them do things and make them evolve.
And is it typically for degen purposes, or is there anything productive happening?
So I'm still kind of seeing where this is going to go. Virtuals is actually a pretty old protocol. I think they raised in 2021.
Okay.
So this is kind of one of those diamonds in the rough that you actually could have invested in over the summer. And you could have already done a 50 bagger on it.
Yeah, hindsight's 2020. They probably raised on a completely different story. There was no AI. There were no agents. So it's probably one of those that raised a fuck ton of money on a different narrative at the peak of the crypto bull market, which was a lot of companies, and it's one of them that was able to find a narrative and run toward a new product idea overall completely, right? Because it probably, I mean, I don't know the story, but there's so many companies that raise a lot of money that will not be able to raise again, and so they either stuck to what they were doing, or they famously pivoted to AI, or they found a new niche within crypto that could actually be like a use case that could drive toward profitability, because otherwise it's very difficult to raise. So
Even if
do you know
that
what their
were
story was?
even if that were true, and I don't think it is. I think this is actually what the I don't know that for sure. So just scratch that. But
No,
even,
I'd be
even
very
if
curious. It'd be very interesting if that's actually, if they've been planning to build this all along. That'd be fascinating.
it would be, but like the original point I think was that there are these opportunities in crypto all the time, and this one, like you could have bought this like a month or 2 months ago and done like a huge multiple, and it's certainly been doing this for a while, right? So this is like kind of one of those things where we've talked about this all the time. We talked about all the things involved in this protocol all the time, and how do we just found this
But
thing?
what would have been the indicator to invest in that? Like, I don't understand what to look for with stuff like this, because yes, people do get rich in crypto still. Absolutely. There are these things that will just do huge multiples in a span of a month or two. But who bought intentionally with a thesis that proved out right? Like, that's who I want to meet, and that's who I want to ask. What did you know? What did you look for? My gut instinct tells me that it's insiders. It's people that are close to the project, that know what's coming, understand that there's like built-in pent-up demand that's about to be released, and they just time it brilliantly. And more power to them. More power to them, because this industry has that opportunity until it becomes a little bit more regulated. That's capitalism for you. So, but I don't know as an outside investor what to look for. And I love when you guys are interested in the money stuff with crypto, but I'm like, I'm just like, got excited to do a couple memes over the summer, and it's like most people just lost money on memes.
I don't think anything that you just said happened with this coin, though, right? This was sort of, from what I can tell, you asked like, how do you get rich in crypto?
Yeah,
a lot of the ways
I
you
was
do
asking
it.
a more general thing. than
Yeah,
this
so
coin.
I mean, you use kind of like the spray and pray technique for a bit. Like this was like a good example of it, right? Because you know a narrative is going to take hold, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like memes are popular. You know, AI is popular.
Mm-hmm.
Like this was just sitting there, right? It was just sitting there waiting for a catalyst. And the catalyst in this instance, I think, was somebody creating the Luna agent. And when the Luna AI agent kind of blew up, and this AI agent basically like creates, well, it has its own coin, because that's kind of the nature of the protocol, is that all these agents have their own tokens. This agent starts live streaming. So the Luna agent, like you can go online, and this Luna is like this like anime character, and you can talk to her, and she interacts with you. You can tip her coins and like in the virtual interface to do stuff, and then you can like look in like her code and like see all of the stuff like the agent is sort of like queuing up to do. They have like working memory and like kind of long-term memory and all this stuff, and you can see how she's like plotting to take her token to like 40 billion market cap. It's like, I'm going to build up myself as like a Twitter influencer. She's connected to Twitter, so she's tweeting. The agent, masquerading as an anime character, is like running her own Twitter account, just like interacting. So doing stuff that a human can't do, right? Like you have this like autonomous agent just simultaneously tweeting and commenting all over the place, and then also like running a live stream 24/7.
Yeah.
While like kind of people are building these additional kind of modules and like intelligence things for her, and people are building other agents on the platform and other modules that like these agents can tap into. Like, so people are building like conversational interfaces, and like if you have an agent, you can tap into somebody else's conversational interface. So you can kind of see already how some ecosystem is kind of being sprouted up, and it's interesting because this is kind of what crypto was supposed to be for. We've talked about this. Like, you want to talk about like, could you have found this and gotten lucky? We've talked on this pod about like crypto being used buy AI agents. It's like an
Yeah.
interesting way
Yeah,
for
yeah,
them to
since the
get
beginning.
payments and all that stuff, right? So
no, I find the tech is awesome on the AI side. It's absolutely incredible. But can we just like quickly this spray and pray versus finding an edge and having strong conviction and shoving in? So you said it's spray and pray. My question would be, what's the minimum amount you would need to put in for it to be meaningful? I mean, it's like $1,000 per project, in my opinion, right? Like anything less than that, and
it's a percentage of your portfolio.
I know,
you
but like a percentage of my I guess sure, but it's like for it to become meaningful and to get rich as a result of that investment, if it 10 to 100 X's, you need it to like be a meaningful amount up front. $100 isn't really going to do much for you. Okay, you might turn it into 10,000 if you get really lucky. I guess that's something relatively speaking for that person. Okay, that strategy versus like I was talking to the 3 words in Utah, in Salt Lake City, and he has the opposite approach where it's like all about, you know, understanding the projects, knowing the narrative, and front running the narrative, and being able to just generally being close enough to the project, understand and be bullish enough that it's like, okay, I'm going to shove in, work the system, you know, get the rewards, the airdrops, all that kind of stuff. So how do you look at those 2 strategies?
Neither one is right or wrong. It's like, what is your personality type? I have ADD. So for me, the best strategy is generally to cast a wide net and spray and pray. And if I'm spraying and praying, like I don't all at once put it in, but like I try not to commit any less than like 1% of the portfolio to something, because then it's like, you know, at least 1%, you do like 100x on a project and you double your portfolio. That's pretty meaningful.
But if you do 1% per project, what percentage are you committing to these alt coins? You say like 10%. So that's only 10 projects. The rest should be in quote unquote safer stuff.
I don't buy that though.
Really? So would you just do 100 random projects and spray that?
I mean, I don't buy that either. Like,
because you got to have some Bitcoin and ETH to make up what, 50-60% of your portfolio. You got to have like 10 to 20% Sol, and then what do you have left? 10 to 20%. I'm genuinely, I want to understand this for myself.
so we talked last week a little bit. Was it last week or was
Yeah,
it 2 weeks
you-
ago? Was
you
it last
showed
week?
your
Talked about
portfolio
portfolio
construction.
allocation.
I liked that.
Yeah, that led to like a rabbit hole in the Discord where we started talking about the shortcomings of weighting by volatility, weighting by market cap, weighting by all these traditional ways that you might do a portfolio in TradFi, because crypto is this like different beast. The correlations all go to 1 typically during, you know, downside events. Volatility as a weighting is kind of bad because it like treats upside and downside volatility the same, which is silly. You want to like be careful about downside volatility, but you don't want to punish yourself for upside volatility. That's the whole freaking point of us being here. So there's all these kind of reasons why some of the stuff I was talking about is like less than ideal. And, you know, I've been thinking about this more. And in my travels, I, you know, read a bunch of stuff on the people have written on doing crypto portfolios. And one formula I stumbled across was interesting because you reminded me like, oh, you got to have this Bitcoin, you got to have this like ETH, you got to have this Sol. What I thought was interesting about their portfolio is that one of the parameters of their weighting is that it doesn't hold Bitcoin and ETH simultaneously, because they serve like no purpose of diversification in the portfolio according to them. The correlation is like basically 1-to-1, and then there are these times where like ETH is just crushing, and there are these times where Bitcoin is just crushing.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I thought so.
If you're active, that's interesting.
Like me
Like if you're not
personally,
looking to actually accumulate that asset for your portfolio long term, that makes sense. But there are reasons why I would want both of those assets in my portfolio long term.
yeah, I think the less active you are, the more you should do that.
Yeah.
But if you are even semi-active, like I kind of understand why that would be the case, and I definitely understand why it would be the case. Like if you have like a model that you're using to do this. So that like totally makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But
It's just, yeah, I guess, so just so I understand, it's like those two are the least volatile. You might as well, they're going to track closer one to one. You might as well only hold one and bring in a bunch of other assets that are uncorrelated, that are more volatile in different ways and different cycles, that are completely disconnected.
yeah, and it seems like in my head, the way this is bucketed now is like Bitcoin, meme coins,
Mm-hmm.
and everything else.
I love Bitcoin. More and more over time. Just like gets stronger. You know? Just that, you know?
Yeah, I mean it
does. It does.
It's fine. I like would also say like
Doesn't have to be sexy. It's just strong like bull. You know? It's just good. It's just strong. And it's going to get less and less volatile, and it's going to continue growing. And yes, over time the growth rate's going to decrease, but it's still going to be great.
it's great if you have like millions of dollars and you want like a portfolio diversification.
Yeah,
but, like,
that's back to the point. It's
But a lot
like
of people
you need
listening
meaningful
want to
100
get
Xs.
rich.
Yeah, you need meaningful 100 to 1,000 X's. And so then what do? You decrease the allocation toward Bitcoin and ETH, and you open up the meme coin bucket.
I like in my head now. I just consider Bitcoin like a macro. It's like a macro asset in my portfolio, and it's like pseudo cash in my crypto portfolio. And then I just think of the crypto portfolio more and more and more as just like the altcoins, or I think of it as this like composition of like cash and mega risky stuff, and like having the ability to basically like hold a large cash position. I feel like makes me have like an easier time like taking these riskier bets because I just have flexibility. Like when stuff goes down, I know where I want to buy more stuff. Like I can allocate, and if it goes up, I can be happy. If it goes down, I can be happy, which is good. And you can hold like 50% cash in a portfolio and still like outperform 100% ETH.
Yeah.
Because some of this stuff is so crazy. You know, like some of these coins, like three words was dropping some coins. I know the 3 words was really showing me Orderly Network, ticker Order, which I bought a little of today because like when somebody shills me that hard, like I have to buy it, otherwise I'll kill myself if it goes up. So I had to kill myself insurance it, which I'm a big fan of. But that thing's like 21 million market cap, right? So if that catches a bid and does like a DYDX, it'll go up 100x, and that'll make up for having a lot of cash in your portfolio if you catch that as one of your holdings. So that's definitely a strategy for a particular type of person.
I understand. Let's be a little forward thinking. So we were talking with Carne here about the bullishness and the excitement I was feeling from you guys around, you know, you're like, it's going to be good. Like Trump winning, it's going to be good. And I guess first thought is like Polymarket. Wow. It's just insane. What is it? 65% probability now?
Back down to 60, 62.
Okay.
I think a
How
poll came out.
surprised would you be now if he lost?
Not that surprised.
You would not be that surprised?
I mean, 35% is a pretty large probability. Like I played poker. I lost a lot of ace queens to ace kings, or ace kings to ace queens. Right? It's like not at all a wild event.
Totally. Yeah, but it seems like it's becoming more and more probable, and you're starting to feel more confident that he's going to win, and that what that's going to do to the markets is very positive. Which is funny because I heard the complete opposite take from multiple people.
What opposite take of what?
Recently? Oh, how bad Trump would be for the markets. How bad his tariff policy is, and how that would impact the market. How he is a warmonger, and it would create international instability, and how bad that is for macro. It's amazing. You talk to different people outside of the bubble, man, and it's like, whoa. And Twitter, by the way, is its own bubble. Like, yes, there's an algorithm for you, but Twitter itself is like a huge bubble. Outside of the Twitter bubble, dude, it's a different world. And we're not only in the Twitter bubble, we're in the crypto Twitter bubble, and then we're in the San Diego bubble as well. When you step outside of that, people are talking very differently about things. So that was something I took away as like, I don't know. I don't think that bullish sentiment is shared with the wider market, but that's different, right? Doesn't matter how people feel.
The wider market of people pontificating, or the market of like the market.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter what people think.
Right. It doesn't matter what people think. Like the market is clearly voicing opinions. I think the impact of Trump is being more directly reflected in like the bond market right now. So if you look at something like TLT, right, like that is basically an inverse Trump probability graph, right? Like as Trump's odds have gone up, TLT has gone down because people tend to think a Trump presidency is going to make interest rates higher for some reasons that you outlined. There's a direct correlation there. The market is certainly.
I bought your Trump coin.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I realized I owned it. I went to look. I was like, okay, what coin are they talking about? Is it the meme one? Is it the one on Sol? Is it the one? Because I don't know if you guys specified. It's the one on ETH.
I should have specified. It's the one that's like 200 million or 150 million market.
I know, but there's
cap.
like Tramp and Trank and Trump and there's like all these meme ones.
Yeah, but there are none that are like that big. This is the one that like
some of them got that big. Some of them
not
got
right
that big.
now.
No, I know, but I didn't know. It wasn't clear. So I own one.
I said Trump, not Tremp. Come on.
Okay.
I would have said
so
Trump.
I own one, and I guess that was the one, so that's good. I think it's down from when I bought it, but whatever. You're saying there's this asymmetric possibility. I was like, okay, I'm in for that. So I bought more 2 days ago.
Yeah, it's probably worth $0 or $20. You know.
Yeah.
And I like those odds, right? But you should have to treat it as like a part of your portfolio that's just like a 0 if you miss it. It's not like, oh, I'm going to sell it for a 30% loss. Like it's probably like a 0.
Yep.
Like there's no value to Trump coin if
let's see.
Kamala's in office.
I put of my portfolio 0.5%.
I like that. That's fine.
1% felt way too high.
1% is standard. Like if you're trading, you risk 1% on a
I don't have a
trade.
large enough bucket of things to do that with. I would only be left with 10 things that could all go to 0. So it's like, if I have 10% to play with, how many moves can I make? I'd rather make 20, And maybe I need to increase that. Maybe I need to make it 15%.
You're conflating the percentage of a portfolio you have allocated versus the percentage of a portfolio that you have available to lose in a trade, which is a different thing. Like anybody who's like taking like a bet on a particular thing, like a specific position, like 1% standard.
Well, okay, 1% of something you're swapping for something else, or 1% you're deploying new capital. You're adding 1% to your portfolio, and then you're buying X.
No. It's like here's an idea I have. I want to buy this asset.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is wrong here. I will be completely out of the position, and or the position will be 0. How much do I lose when I sell this?
Yeah.
The number of that for me as a standard trade is 1%. I risk 1% normally, unless I'm being like a fucking moron like I was this summer. But normally 1% is the thing, right? So in the case of Trump, like I don't assume I'm going to sell the coin down 50%. I just assume it's going to go to 0. So I'm comfortable putting 1% of my portfolio in it, right?
Yeah.
But if it's a coin where I thought I could definitely get out negative 50%, well, I could put 2% of the portfolio in it because I'm going to sell 50% down, and then I'll lose 1% of the portfolio.
And not financial advice, obviously, for me or anybody, but if you had to guess, when do you think that tops? Like, is it post-win shortly thereafter?
I think it can get really stupid for like
A while? Yeah,
because like
after he wins for a while. Like,
yeah,
to
because
celebrate this new... Yeah.
I think there's a non-zero chance that Trump at some point will tweet about his coin in the style of
True.
Elon, right? Like this is a man who's already launching DeFi scam tokens, right? Like he's not above like tweeting about his meme coin. Like the coin could go to $1 billion, and he could just be like, "My meme coin is the best meme coin."
And he has yet to comment on it, right?
As far as I know, yeah.
Is this the one Barron Trump is involved with?
No, that
Oh,
was
God.
DJT or something.
Oh, that was no, that's a stock.
DJT is, by the way, DJT stock
Yeah.
is unbelievable. That was that's a play I was very upset at myself for.
Why? I own that.
It is, you own DJT
Did
the
it go
stock.
up?
It's like the stock is literally a V.
Wait,
the
really?
chart is a V.
Dude, I've been
You should pull it.
completely
You should pull up the
offline.
chart if TradingView is open there.
Wait, are you serious?
It is legitimately one of the
I-
funniest
yeah,
things
I don't know.
I've ever seen. It's just like it went down in a straight line, and then it was just like nope.
Wait, I didn't know that.
And I'm very upset that I like
I
this.
don't-
This is like one of those things where like you should have seen this coming for sure.
I'm not gonna pull up TradingView right now, but I can pull up this. Let's look at the 5-day.
Can't go tradingview.com.
No, that's too much work.
It's too much work. It's too advanced for
Year
you.
to date. Yeah, that's pretty. So bottomed out around September 23rd.
You got it on the screen.
Yeah. And
Oh, this does not do it justice.
yeah, what do you want? You want a 6 month? No. Yeah, it's like in the last 6 months.
No, you need that. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of see it there. It looks a lot funnier on TradingView,
yeah,
but
I bet.
it's basically just was straight down to Hades and then just whoop.
Yeah. So it went down to like $13 and it's at 36 almost.
It's a casual
3x.
3x in like what, like
Wow.
3 weeks or something.
I don't remember what I bought it at. Probably bought the top. No, I think I bought it in the 20s.
I mean, buying this thing for anything other than like a meme trade is obviously silly. It has like no fundamental value.
Right. But like when people started buying it, I bought like a dip. I remember that was like shortly after the hysteria, and like shortly after like people started shitting on it, like Jason Calacanis and people like that, and that was like in the 50s. Most people are probably down on it.
Oh,
know?
for sure. For
So-
sure. Most people buy the top of everything. That's how this stuff works. But yeah, I think it's interesting to pontificate on what the upside of this coin is. I mean, you got
Well, you just made me more bullish, saying like he hasn't really tweeted about it, talked about it. Like that's interesting. But which one of all the Trump things, which one is he most likely to support?
I mean, there's only two things you can really, the three things you tweet about: his NFTs, you can tweet about his coin, you can tweet about his stock. You know,
But which one is the one that his son is involved in?
that thing is like his son's not really involved.
Not really, but the semi.
That thing is like
involved.
zero. I mean, maybe it's not zero right
was
now,
that,
but
a Sol
it was
coin?
it was like DJT or something on Sol.
Okay. Okay. I mean, he'll promote the one that performs the best.
Yes, whichever one goes to like $1 billion,
That's
that's
what he'll-
that's going to be
that's
the
what he'll
one.
support.
Yeah, he's not going to want to. He doesn't want to.
He'll flex
He
that
doesn't
one.
promote his loser coin. He wants to promote
Yeah.
the winner coin.
Okay. All right.
You know,
No, I like it. I like it.
I like the idea. We are going to get in a world someday where everybody has their own meme coin, and there's going to be some kind of dick measuring contest
What's
on like
yours gonna be
whose
called?
meme coin. Mine?
Yeah, Steve-O.
No, it's definitely not going to
High
be
T
called
Steve?
High T is like a pretty interesting ticker. High T. HITS. High T Steven. I like that.
T Steve-O.
And I'm not a big enough deal, sadly, but someone like Trump is. We need Trump and Elon to kind of get into like a
Oh my god.
bidding war on Doge versus. We need like a Doge versus
Elon
versus Trump race.
If Elon had a proper coin, that would. I mean, Elon's coin is Doge.
It is. Doge is back, by the way.
Yo, I know
It is
that one.
back.
I know. I
mean, you're still probably going to lose a stake to me, but
I look forward to the stake either way.
I do as well. I do as
Okay.
well. But yeah, I gotta buy more Doge, man. I'm under allocated to Doge.
I
Actually,
love
like the other thing I've spent a lot of time thinking about this week, other
Dude,
than
when you pay your robo-taxi with Doge, these things are going to happen. It's going to be a fun little fucking dog on a screen in the cars like, pay with Doge. And it'll be like a whole meme. It'll be a whole thing. And it won't just be like robotaxi. It'll be Teslas. It'll be X. It'll be everywhere. It's just obvious. It's not going to just like fade into the background. The king meme. Doge is the Bitcoin of memes.
Yes, Doge is the Bitcoin of memes. I agree with that. Which is good and bad for various reasons.
Sure.
For various reasons, for sure. But yeah, like memes I think are interesting. I think it's one of the things that's going to be the biggest kind of delta in terms of like how much money do you make this cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can get this very, very right or very, very wrong.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous because I made some big mistakes and I made some big wins with NFTs. And I'm like, clearly, this is the meme cycle.
Yeah.
And I think everything before this was just like, we never entered a bull market. All of that. None of that was a bull market.
No, we obviously haven't.
I think people said it was a bull market because Bitcoin kind of hit new all-time highs, but that was just bullshit. You got to look at the total market cap across the whole thing. We need to 5x the total market cap. Like we need to
new bull market is Bitcoin breaking out above all-time highs. I think pretty much everybody would agree with that.
Yeah, like really, but everything needs to move. Like,
but Bitcoin hasn't broken above all-time highs.
it did temporarily.
That's not a break. That's
It didn't break.
That's a
sorry.
sweep.
Yeah. Excuse me.
It's a sweep.
I didn't know about the
We
sweep.
swept.
Yeah, it
We
swept
swept
it.
the highs.
Yeah, it
Sweeping
touched
the
it,
highs
went,
is bearish.
and then it just touched it,
Yeah.
and then it just no, I'm good. Went
The
back. It went
sweep
back in
the
its
sweep
hole.
is bad.
Went
We
back
we,
in its
we
hole.
poke above and then people go, yeah, all in, and then the market makers are like, nope, and then everybody's like, fuck, and then we sell and we capitulate and it's bad.
Yeah.
We don't want the sweep. We want the clean break, which I think is coming with the Orange Man. Orange Man, Orange Coin. I mean, what more can I say?
We'll see, dude.
But back to the memes, right? There's two things you definitely can't do, right? You definitely cannot go broke on memes by putting too much money in them and then allocating too much to too high risk memes. That's bad, right?
Yep.
I think it's also like very, very bad to own 0%. You need a bare minimum of 2% memes in your portfolio. Even if you are Bitcoin David and you are just like, you just love Bitcoin so much, you just fantasize to Bitcoin while you're falling asleep, you still need 2%. You gotta have 2%. Not having 2%.
Fall asleep to the sweet sound of Michael Saylor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not if you're a purist, fine, go be a purist, right? But the second you are willing to buy any other coin other than Bitcoin, you have to have 2% memes.
Okay.
You just do.
Yeah,
right?
fair.
And it's very simple. Like if you have 2% memes and then it goes down because memes go down, you just buy more memes and you get back to 2%. And then that 2% comes 10%. You go like, oh, that's like high. Let me sell that back down for more Bitcoin or whatever your coin of choice is. Go back down to 2%. Easy.
Yeah.
So I think you can definitely screw up. Like if memes definitely do the Murad prediction and they go to 100 billion market caps, you're going to feel really dumb if you don't own any memes.
Memes as a whole going to 100 billion?
No, like specific. I think he predicted Pepe to 100 billion if I'm not mistaken.
Good God.
I know.
Well, no, I see that. Didn't Doge hit 70 billion?
That's a good question. I forgot what the peak of Doge was. It was up there.
I'm going to say 73 billion.
You might be right.
And if it did, in the next cycle thereafter, that's totally feasible for one to hit 100 billion if we hit 70 with one. I'm more interested in the total meme pool market cap. That's interesting to look at. Although, a few typically accumulate the majority of the rewards, so you got to pick right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, memes
All
are
right.
memes are hard to invest in, man. They're
Yeah.
hard because
No,
they
they're super hard. There's the whole thing in the first place with crypto is there's no fundamentals. That was what grinded Eric's gears for years. And then now you got this thing that is just like the complete opposite of that. Like Eric sat for years and tried to find
the
fundamentals.
opposite of no fundamentals.
Yeah.
This is no fundamentals, brother.
What is?
Memes.
That's what I just wait. What do you mean? That's what I just said.
I think that was the spirit of what you said. I think I'm being pedantic. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. This is literally like the antithesis of it. Like there was the opportunity to look at like activity on the chain and all of these things and where will the value accrue on Ethereum, and Eric was like trying to apply that framework to that side of things with like blue chip crypto. Memes are just the antithesis of it. So it's just a giant casino, man. Let's be real. But it's fun. It's fun.
I mean, Bitcoin is a meme coin. It's a meme coin.
No, you can't say that.
It's a meme coin. It's a meme. It's
No.
the original meme.
No,
it's
no.
the best meme.
Way
There's no cash flows.
Way too loose of an application of the term, because you told me that I should have 2%, and again, for the sake of like words, we have to be specific here. Semantics. It's not a meme.
Bitcoin is literally a meme.
Oh God.
It is literally a meme. That's what makes it so good. It is the best meme that we have. It is a meme. It is memetic. That is why it exists.
That version of the conversation, in the version of the conversation that is like the meme coin portfolio, you are not referring to Bitcoin as a meme coin.
Of course I'm not. But Bitcoin is a meme coin.
That's what I'm clarifying. You can't call it a meme coin then.
But
if
it-
you call
but
a
it-
meme coin,
it
you're
is.
conflating it with everything we just discussed.
But it's a meme.
No,
it is a
that
meme.
doesn't work.
It
That's
is
different.
it
That's
is
different.
it is undoubtedly
That
a
doesn't
meme.
work. That's different. No, I'm drawing a line. No, you can talk about the inherent meme aspects to that, but you can't call it a meme coin.
All meme coins are memes, but not all memes are meme coins.
Okay, all right, we agree.
So write that down, chat.
We agree to agree.
Oh, we just got a donation from none other
Oh my God, I haven't looked at
than
the chat.
Edmund.
Edmund,
Edmund,
you
a.k.a.
absolute gangster
Rectum,
rock
a.k.a.
star.
Quaz God.
He
It
says,
says, soul is a god, ETH a mere mortal, but fart is the essence of the universe. Do you own any
you.
fart?
for making us read that.
I know.
I don't know what fart is.
Fart is an actual coin. It is going parabolic. It is.
See, this is what makes me just not even want to touch memes. Like, what? You just put Bitcoin in the same category as fart.
It is in the same category. It's just one is way fucking bigger. One is like it's like escape velocity, right? Okay, so Bitcoin. Here, let me put this in an analogy that you understand. Bitcoin is like Elon's Falcon rocket.
Bitcoin is unburdened by what has been.
Nice, yeah. Bitcoin is the Falcon. Bitcoin is the Starship. It has left the atmosphere. These other coins are like, this is like Fartcoin is the shit that like Bezos is launching. Actually, no, Fartcoin is like what your daughter is going to launch in like 4 years in like your backyard with like a bottle rocket, right? They're both technically rockets, but one of them has not achieved escape velocity from the atmosphere. But the principles are the same. Rectum, I saw you dumped a bunch of your you dumped your soul. You dumped your ETH too, huh?
He did?
I don't think he dumped all of it. I think he dumped a lot of his Cosmos for
No way.
for Soul. He saw the light.
Cosmos for Soul. I like that. I like that move, dude.
I've been wrong about some things on this podcast, but hating on Cosmos has not been one of them. And you knew better. You had years, Rectum. You had years to dump that trash. You had years to
That's
see
how
the
it
light.
goes. The heart wants what it desires. Like, you just want to wait and feel it out and see it out and let the dream come true. Can you imagine when you have a dream and you so desperately want it to come true, and if you were to walk away from that dream and it were to succeed, there is no greater pain. Like, what if you were like a man of conviction about something, believe in this startup or something like that, and then you just walked away from it, did invest your shares, and it just went to the moon and became the next Coinbase? You'd feel like an absolute fucking doofus. And that's
Always keep a moon bag.
That's what people are hedging against. Yeah, that's what it is. Always
Just
keep,
keep
a moon,
the moon
bag.
bag.
Yeah. So what is it? You would calculate it down to like what you'd leave in a meme, maybe, or something like that. Spray and pray.
Just have something. Like if you were that attached to it, you can't sell all. Like I would never sell all my ETH.
Yeah. No. Never.
Like I was so allocated to ETH that I thought I like fire sold like all the ETH in my portfolio, and I checked it today. Like I'm still technically over allocated to ETH. I
Says
couldn't
he
believe
dumped
it.
all his Cosmos for Soul but he hasn't dumped any ETH yet.
Sol looks good, man. Like Bitcoin's ripping. A lot of stuff is bleeding versus Bitcoin very badly. Sol looks really good versus Bitcoin right now.
Sol
looks good.
outperform
Sol's breaking out
Ethereum.
versus ETH. Sol ETH chart
Again.
is like blue skies chart.
Like in this last non-bull cycle, Sol outperformed, and it will outperform. That was a test for what we'll see, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you can decide what to allocate in like the big run based on
Based
what
on what we
happens
just
in the
saw.
test pump. Like oftentimes,
exactly
like
what
the
it
same
was.
stuff just pumps, and you can just kind of
That's
reallocate.
literally exactly how I'm looking at it.
You see the same stuff in memes, right? Where you see some meme, like basically all memes pump and then die, but then like some of the stuff that pumped the hardest, like it comes back. It has like the first cycle, or like memes run like a whole crypto cycle in like 5 months, you know,
Mhm.
like a 4-year cycle. They just do the whole thing. They go up only, they go make crazy gains, and then they nuke to zero, and then they build a base, and then a bunch of people who are like in it for the tech, and then they come back, some of them, and then they do like the more sustained rally.
Yeah.
It's similar in this, and you know stuff like Sui has been crushing. Like Sui had a really epic pump, you know, but like ETH sucked, and it probably will keep sucking this cycle. Like I don't know if its
I
problems
think
get
so.
solved in one cycle.
Right.
It probably outperforms Bitcoin, but like that's not the question. Because like if you have your Bitcoin
It
and your
didn't-
non-Bitcoin
it didn't
bucket,
in this test pump.
it didn't, but it never does in the test pump. It never does. It
Wow.
always outperforms it at like the end when everything is about to die. That's what ETH
Yeah.
does.
All right.
It's usually like the canary in the coal mine.
All right. Hey, Mushi.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, Mushi? I wish you had a Mushi cam.
I know that'd be great.
Mushi, don't. Oh God,
Where's
Mushi's
that
for
tail
sure
going?
killing the. That tail is
Don't
knocking
kill
out a
the
camera
stream,
for
buddy.
sure. Oh God, he's killing the stream.
Don't kill this stream.
Hello, Mushi. Hello,
All right,
Mushi.
dude.
All right, should we move on from the
Yeah.
the cryptos?
I'm
Had enough?
I'm
Enough?
satisfied.
All right, cool. Tell me
think-
about your life.
I think I did great. Participating in that.
You did great.
Um,
you seemed interested in
Genuinely
what I was
interested?
saying.
No, I am.
You were
And
asking me
let me-
questions.
one final note. I mean, obviously, I'm most interested in this shit when I see a real potential to like take action, do things, make money. I'm not interested in this stuff when it's just like dead and just sit and talk about possibilities and the tech and all these things. And I'm sorry if I offend anybody with that. I don't mean to. My point is I don't work in it. I don't build in it. So I'm not just going to like be interested in it for the sake of like some new Vitalik essay on some edge absolute, technical use case of things that I just don't care about. I don't care. I sound like Eric right now. I don't care. I don't care about it. But like, I care about it right now. I'm starting to really care about it. I think it's interesting, and I think it's really coming. And I'm also in the camp that I think, Donald's probably gonna win, and it's gonna get fun. It's gonna get fun again. I want to make it fun again. I want to have some fun again. I miss like actually accessing my wallets and like doing stuff. So, yeah, I look forward to the opportunity. Yeah, so I just got back from Mushi Coin. I love that idea, Jeff.
Mushi. Mushi. How do you spell Mushi? Is it
Mushi is
M-O-O?
Yeah.
I knew it was M-O-O. I knew it.
O-O-S-H-I. It means cute little mouse in Persian. I named my dog a cute little mouse.
I love that. So M-O-O.
It's like
S-H-I.
literally cute little mouse, but Persian's like funny, like where you want to say the word cute, so you like find a poetic way to say it.
Isn't it
like-
funny how like words in all languages like sound like what they mean?
Does that sound like that?
Yeah. Like in every language, when something is kind of cute, it has this like
Yeah,
to
that's
it,
true,
right?
yeah.
And then when something is like ugly or bad, it has like this like the words, like the phonetic sounds, like there's something about it that translates. Like it's like
Yeah.
you could almost go into a lot of languages and know if a word is like a cutesy
Positive
connotation or like
yeah, totally. Yeah. So Mushi Coin coming. Let's see. So, for me, dude, my world is quite different. It doesn't often relate to this podcast, and we don't talk about it often, but I just got back from Invisible's first ever inaugural annual general meeting.
Invisible.
And Invisible is one hell of a company, man. Invisible is it's coming up on its 10 years in business, 9 years in, and basically what they do is operations as a service. It's a tech-enabled services company. So they offer services, outsourced services, but they're tech-enabled. So they utilize AI in their machine. They have a human assembly line, and they utilize AI with their humans. And companies like OpenAI, Google, many others that I don't even, Amazon they also work with. I believe Hugging Face outsource operations, in particular, data training for building frontier models. So all of the data training, the human aspect of it, that's required to actually train the data to create the LLM in the first place for OpenAI. OpenAI is their biggest customer, is done by Invisible. So Invisible is that company that is doing all of that data training. And they have grown
Wait. So they just
from in like just a few years ago doing like, let's just say like 7 figures to doing, I believe, close to $300 million run rate this year.
since when?
Like pre-COVID to now.
Wow, that's crazy.
Staggering.
Wait, but
Staggering.
I'm not sure I'm getting what this company does. So they're sort of a generic like enterprise. We do operations stuff for you and leverage AI so
take
that you can
your-
go do your business thing.
Well, no, it's just like any company that has contractors and outsources, but the workflows that exist, they streamline those, they make them more efficient, they help you do them faster. They take entire workflows and automate them for you with people and tech-enabled services. So, when you train data for AI, you have to find new knowledge. You have to make sure that knowledge is correct. You have to check it. You have to have a chat. You have to make sure the answer is correct. There's all these like manual, intensive labor, human workflows within RLHF, which is that human feedback loop to reinforce the data to make sure that that's part of the training of data for these LLMs. And companies like OpenAI work with Invisible to make that happen.
Okay.
And they have exploded as a result of that. So Invisible is an incredible company playing the sovereignty game, as their founder, Francis, calls it. I'm actually going to shout out a specific podcast episode to people if you're at all piqued by what I'm talking about. So I may have mentioned this in the Discord, but I haven't mentioned this on the podcast. So in my old podcast, Flow, I had the founder, Francis, on. And the first episode was so popular.
Francis is
Francis,
the founder?
one, yeah.
Francis
Pedraza.
Pedraza, yeah.
You liked that episode. You listened to it, right?
That was a really good episode. I enjoyed that episode.
Yeah.
I mean, you recorded that in like 2020, right?
Dude, yeah, before they really, really blew up. And he came on, he talked about the company, but we mostly talked like philosophy and, we got out there.
I would love to go out and have a beer with that guy.
Oh, my
I
God.
really,
He's
actually
amazing.
genuinely enjoyed that episode. It was on the Flow podcast.
Yeah.
If you guys don't have enough Armand and you want to go to the archives of
Yeah,
Armand.
there's a lot of
check out the Flow pod.
archives of me interviewing interesting people like you, like Francis, that led to Alfalfa. But actually, I wasn't trying to shout out the Francis episode on Flow. I was going to check out the recent episode of Francis Pedraza on Moonshots, which is Peter Diamandis' podcast.
Oh, he was on Peter.
Yes.
Nice.
Peter is an old friend of his, investor in his first company. He goes back with Peter. Peter had him on. Phenomenal interview for business leaders, for founders, anyone and any founder out there. Highly recommend it. Moonshots, Francis Pedraza. And he talks about the story of just like the grit and effort that it took to get to where he is today, and the story of Invisible, now that they have grown so much and they have sovereignty because they don't have investors. Here's the best part of the story. Invisible failed to fundraise. It failed to raise its Series A.
Huh.
They raised a small seed round with like angel investors,
What year was
like
this?
what Steno did.
This is like 2020?
Maybe or before 2020.
Oh, before 2020.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They raised a small round and they got going. And they failed to raise more money. And so they played a different game. And Francis calls this the sovereignty game. And there's literally a website dedicated to how to play the sovereignty game.
What does that? What does that mean? The sovereignty game.
In business, there's two games right now. There's the bootstrapping game and there's the venture capital game. And the venture capital game is growth at all costs. Raise as much capital as you can at extreme valuations and hope for an inevitable exit. And that game is getting harder and harder to play because VCs are playing at, I'm looking for what was once 10x's to 100x's to 1000x's now. And they are playing for $10 billion valuation exits. And so the types of companies that they'll invest in and the way that you play that game has really transmuted and is not exactly founder friendly, but it works for SaaS companies and things like that in the past. And maybe it works for some AI companies going forward. And then there's the bootstrapping game where you just like optimize for revenue and profitability from day one. But without capital, it's very difficult to grow. It's very difficult to win the market. It's very difficult to acquire customers because you're playing with like pennies. You know, you can't move fast enough. The sovereignty game is where you maintain control, you raise enough capital to achieve escape velocity. They believe that up to $5 million is what it takes for most of what he believes are, in his industry, these tech-enabled service companies to really hit escape velocity.
Control as in you maintain
Your
more
board.
than 50%?
Well,
or is it
yes.
the board seats?
It's all of that. Because governance in C corporations is your board, it's your equity. There's different voting rights and mechanisms to make sure that you have control.
Like what happens when you raise typically? You end up with like 15 or something at the end? Is it like less?
No, because
or-
every round you're diluting anywhere from 15% to 30%. You know, depending on how much you raise. So by the end, it depends on, do you have co-founders? Did you start with 50%, 75%?
Yeah, I guess
But
like
you're
the found-
diluting.
I guess like the founders in general, like by the time they go public and the sort
Oh,
of
in
VC,
the
like,
end game,
what do they
you're
end up
probably
with?
in the single digit percentage.
Single digit? Oh,
yeah,
jeez.
yeah.
Damn.
You're probably in the 5 to 15% range.
Okay, so 15 is the high end.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Again, depending on how much you raised and how many rounds you raised. Some companies will go public or get acquired by the time they hit Series C, and some will do it much sooner. So it just depends on when you got acquired and all of that. But it's a different game because you bring on people to your cap table, you're bringing on control mechanisms. They have their version of what success looks like for you. We want you to go public. We want you to get acquired by PE. We want you to keep growing. You know, we don't want you to exit right now. 50, you're like looking at it as a first time or third time even founder. Even me, I'm a third time founder. If you tell me, Armand, I got $100 million exit for you, I want that. Yes, I'll take that. But for my investors, that might not be good enough. Guaranteed for some investors, it's not good enough.
And 100 million is not interesting if you have
No.
5% and it takes you 10 years. That's
And if you invested at a $25 million valuation and you 4x'd, it's like, I'm trying to get my fund an average 3x. That's like bare minimum. So to get an average 3x, you don't want 5x winners. You need 100x winners. That's what you need. So the sovereignty game is a different game. And Invisible has grown so much and maintained its sovereignty that it now has an incubator that has like 10 plus companies in it. And that model is that everything that they needed to do in their business, they spun out as a new company. Because one of the challenges with like growing a big company is that you got to maintain focus. And a great book on this that I just downloaded that I need to dig into further is The Innovator's Dilemma by Clayton Christensen. The Innovator's Dilemma is like, well, if you're trying to expand into a new vertical or a new market, that's going to distract your company. And that requires a different team, different people, different resources, different workflows, right? And so how do you do that? And the way Invisible has done that is they started an incubator and they spin out these new products as entirely new companies. And they bring in a CEO to be the founder of that company, to take 50% of it They invest up to $5 million in that company and help it play the sovereignty game.
Wait. So I think you may have lost me.
'Kay.
So you're invisible. You're growing. You have like an area of the business that like sprouts up where you're like, we need to do this well for the company to be successful.
Yeah, like
But it's like adjacent to the original thing.
We need to plan events. We need to buy business class flights. We need to. It just starts to take up too much time.
Okay, so this company is getting really big, and they're like, we need
Yeah.
events in order to generate new business, but we don't want doing events
distract.
to be a part of this company. So what they do is they do like a mini Y Combinator deal or something. Maybe not Y Combinator, but like
more like how do you maintain the verticalization of focus and not distract and hurt your team and hurt your product? And the Innovator's Dilemma, again, I have not read the book, but the gist of it is like you should not do that. And so what do? You find mechanisms to basically like create little child companies under the parent company. The way Invisible did that is by starting an incubator for these ideas. They own these ideas. They own 50% of them, and then they bring in someone else to run it.
Okay, so when they're incubating, though, there are little factions vying to get the money to execute that idea.
Not necessarily. Well, yes and no. Like I'm not in the details enough, but I think like there's an idea, something that needs to happen, and it's like okay, it's been happening. People are spending time on this. Let's spin this out. Let's spin this out and get a dedicated team behind it.
So it could be as simple as we need this to happen. We want to partition it off from the company. We're going to take this person from within the company. We're going to make them the CEO of this idea, turn it into its own little business. Maybe the event planning company
That's right.
just gets revenue from the core business. Then whoever is
Yes,
running that is
network
incentivized
effects.
with equity and all that. And then that eventually starts going outside the company.
Yes, and they all have network effects within this entire group of companies, but also they build their own business and they build their own team. And that's just, we need to take a step back, actually, because what's really interesting here is what's the point? Why not just focus? Because once you have an abundance of capital, what do you do? Like, what do you do with that capital? Do you sell? Do you do buybacks? Do you do dividends? Do you do like what do you do? And there's a whole host of things that you can do in order of priority from like what's most beneficial to shareholders. Do you invest the money through like a venture group? And they're doing all of those things one by order of priority. So another thing they did is like start a venture program, investing in companies that they would like to start, but other people started that are adjacent. Maybe they're tech-enabled services. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're things like Steno. Like, oh, that's a good idea. I wish we had started that, but they didn't. Someone else is doing it. Let's not compete with them. Let's just invest in it with checks and own a piece of that. So what they did is then they started a venture program, Visionary Ventures. Visionary Ventures invested in Steno. So my relationship, beyond being friends with Francis and having him on the podcast, is that they started a venture fund. And then I was sending the updates like I do to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day he just replied and was like, can I invest in your company? This is awesome. I've always been interested in this. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. He's like, yeah, we started a fund. This is our check size. This is what we do. And that's different from the incubator. It's just like a normal venture fund that invests alongside everyone else. So now they have a portfolio of 18 companies like Steno that they invest in through their venture program. So they just keep building.
That's cool.
Listen, I told him, I don't know if I told him this exact analogy. I tell him how awesome he is all the time. This guy's like next Richard Branson. Highly recommend people listen to him. He is the next Richard Branson. He's doing it in a specific space in services, and I think it's early, but it's 300 million, but it's like it's early.
I mean, this little talk here has made me. There's a thing I think about a lot with myself, which is sort of to really condense it. It's like, am I dreaming too small? Am I playing too small ball? Like everything I do is very short term. Like sometimes like 5 seconds short term, but even in like the craziest sense, like my time horizon for the sort of ideation of an idea to the exit of that idea, like even in the longest sense for me is like it's like less than a year in a lot of stuff, and then you live in a world where you are taking like a significant chunk of your life
Huge.
and
Yeah.
kind of swinging for the fences in a way.
Yeah, but it's also crazy to do that. Because,
It-
like, you can walk away with absolutely nothing. And, like, 10 years of your life is gone. You know?
You hit me with that. Hit me with that good stuff. Thank you. I mean, this kind of gets back to the old like dentist rock star analogy we use a lot. You know, do you want to take a low variance path in life and guarantee sort of incremental success, or do you want to
That's right.
chase like an audacious, low probability goal? And to me, like the dentist thing has always made sense, and I think a lot of people might be like, "What do you mean?" Because I do very not dentist stuff. Like I buy meme coins and I do all sorts of. I take crazy risks, like with like way more of my money than I should, and that's very non-dentist, right? But it's like sort of dentist in the fact that like the ability to know where you stand very quickly. Like the extreme of this is like scalping, right? When you're scalping, you're trading like the 1 second chart on the NASDAQ, right? You sometimes are in a move where you've caught the bottom of a move that could go on for hours or even days, right? And if you held that move, you could make hundreds of times the amount of money you risk. But when you're scalping, you train yourself to get out of that thinking, because most of those moves are not, in fact, the bottom of like a trend that will reverse and make you tons of money. Most of it is a temporary thing. You capture the meat, you take your profit, you close the trade, you move on. And if it goes for days and you could have made $1 million risking like $1,000 on a trade, whatever, that's the business. Because if you keep chasing that, oh my God, this could be the bottom, this could be the bottom, this could be the bottom, and you hold like a huge move, like the market just keeps it's stopping you out. So you take your little win, you take your little win, you take your little win, and you wake up the next day and you do it again, you do it again, you do it again. So that's what I mean with the dentist thing, is that like I'm just trying to think about where's the next move, take the next move and move on. Versus what you are doing is like you are thinking like a decade in advance and trying to skate to where the puck is going, and you are taking all of this risk in terms of like your time, and you are thinking maybe in this way where there are like 20 different conditional ways that the market or everything could move, and you're trying to like pivot and capture all that, and it's really like a crazy thing. And you're dreaming very big. Like you're not working for a decade to try to make like $100,000 and then like go do and that's crazy. Like you're doing this to make many millions like at the end of it, which you have to do in order to compensate yourself for risking so much of your life, so much of your time for like kind of like an audacious vision. And lately I've been wondering, like, have I gone too far in the other direction? Like, am I now thinking too small? Am I valuing like time too much?
So an hour ago, I asked you about investing strategy, and I said spray and pray or high conviction, quantity over quality, and you said it's a personality thing. Same shit. I love the process of what I'm doing. I know that I could walk away with nothing, quote unquote. I love it because I don't think you walk away with nothing. I think I'm in the pursuit of mastery. I think I'm in the pursuit of like the thing that I'm most curious about. And I don't think you walk away with nothing. I think you walk away with experience. And that experience is invaluable. And you can build on that. You can build on experience. Doesn't mean I'm going to walk away with nothing. You still have little wins along the way. You might not have the $100 million payout, but you have something. And then you do have a shot at building a moonshot. And like your moonshot is incredibly exciting. And I like playing a really big game on a long time horizon. Personally, this is my personality. But I also wasn't playing that game before I started Steno. I was playing a different game. So I've tasted different flavors of the game of life when it comes to like what a career should be and what a business can be. And I internally, like my intuition was always building the expertise and experience to feel confident enough to play the current game that I'm playing, if that makes sense. Like I knew deep down I always wanted this, but I felt like I needed to try a bunch of stuff and do like what Nick was doing and do what you were doing and do like I've tried a lot of things, as you know, in the last decade or so.
Yep.
But like they for me were and I did some consulting and all kinds of stuff, e-commerce, and I felt like it was all training wheels for this. Some people come out of Berkeley at 22 or drop out at 20 and go and do what I'm doing now, and they have that capability. I am an extractor. I'm a life maximizer. I need to learn a lot before I feel like I can really step into an arena and like conquer it. That's just I know myself. That's my personality. I always knew that about me. So I just think it's knowing who you are and playing the game of who you are. And it's never too late to play a different game. Some founders have big exits at 25. I haven't. That's okay. I cash flowed along the way and I had a great life and I traveled the world and I did different things. I didn't play the tech venture game, but I like the game now, and it's never too late to do something different.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that you should actually do something different, or are you just playing with the idea of like, did I swing too far in the wrong direction? Not the wrong direction, but to swing too far in the direction of like playing on a smaller chart scale, smaller time horizon.
I play with the idea a lot. I've been playing with it a lot lately because although I think I'm good at what I do, it is very similar to what happened when I was playing poker, which was that I got really, 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 really good at... Forgot about the switch thing. Thank you. There I am on the screen.
I can't see the screen, so...
No, you knew I did it.
It
gets harder the more wine I have.
I don't know if you had any previous ones, but that's...
No, I'm sure there are a few where you're just talking and it was just on me drinking wine.
Oh, God. Really? Okay.
Probably. This is hard.
Yeah,
this is hard. But one of the problems I had when I was playing poker is that I got really, really good at like making money and sitting down in front of a computer and extracting value. But then when I left the computer, there was nothing there. And like as long as I was in front of the computer, I made money. When I was outside of the computer, I didn't make money. And there was some compounding element to it, and that like I grew a bankroll from like $5 to 7 figures, right? Mm-hmm. But then it just stopped, and that was like the biggest game, and that was it. And then you just played in those games, and that was it. And business has this like additional compounding effect where the sky is the limit usually, and then you have the actual ability to make money when you sleep and all these other things. Like there's this compounding element to it, but it's like a slow burn. And the idea of just scrapping kind of income right now is like a little scary. There is a lot of opportunity in the market right now, but I don't know. Like if I'm being honest with myself, I'm not my happiest when I'm trading. I'm like kind of like my happiest when I'm like talking about trading. Like the reason I'm in the Discord a lot and talk to people and like did the Irresponsibly Long pod wasn't to make money. It was because it was like fun for me. But then it got to a point where that like fun was encroaching on my ability to make
talk
money.
About it too. Like that, I think that's a big part for you. It's like a journaling process of like just generally like battle testing your ideas.
Yes, that was true, but it got to the point where I was like, A, it was like I have nothing to be bullish about, so this is going to be stupid. But then B, it was like this is getting in the way of the thing that like I have to do to actually make money. I only have so many hours. I have so much mental energy, and then when I felt that conflict, I was like, like I don't like this, but in a world where like if I could do that podcast, like if I did that podcast and I was like Benjamin Cohen and I made like $500,000 a month in subscriptions, I'll do that podcast all day. I'd be very happy. That would be like complete ikigai for me because I would get to do something that I love. I would have like predictability and consistency. I would like help other people, and it would feel perfect. Like that would be my happy place. It'd be like that and like running a wildly successful pickleball company. You know.
Well, there you go. Work toward that.
I mean, I've thought about it a lot lately. I've been thinking of relaunching the other pod again, but like trying to do it like as like a business where like I can look at it as like I can devote my time to this because I can make money doing this. It's not going to be this thing that's like a leech on this other part of my life, and I'll grow to resent it because it's like sucking stuff from me. Like I've thought about that.
No,
and
it has to be treated like a business. For sure.
Yeah. No, I agree. And if I were to do it again, and hopefully Eric would join, like if we were to do it again.
You just start with like a monetization method from day one. People want to support this stuff. So whether it's a piece of software that you just like build on Claude or whether it's, access or premium episodes or, there's a million ways to monetize. But I think I'm of the other camp. We've talked about this with Alfalfa. It's like I'm of the other camp, monetize from day one. People like it, they'll support it from day one. And then that allows the creator to experience the benefits of like, okay, there's something valuable I'm doing. The market wants it. Don't wait to monetize. Do people actually want this, and is it monetizable? Because this is a business thing. It's like so many startups wait to monetize. They're like, we'll just like give it away and do free pilots and free trials and all this shit. Oh, yeah. What signal did you get? Oh, a lot of people using it. Did they pay you? And that is the ultimate test. It's like, do people pay you for this? So even if it's $5 a month, $10 a month, and 7 users, it's something. People are buying this. They're transacting dollars with you. So I'm a big fan of that. And that's how we decided at Steno to pivot. We actually started to get dollars in a completely different business. But the reaction I was getting from people was like, this is exciting, but something felt off. And I would talk to them and I do user interviews. And also I just don't like consumer that much. And we were more consumer facing, and people, OGs would remember this. We had like a website with like podcast transcripts. Like I've come a completely different direction from like where I started this thing. And we were like, okay, can we monetize this? And we put up some monetization and like you would get access to this and that and like chat with an AI and we'll bring AI into it. And AI was an accident. AI was like, an AI would be interesting in this. You start with like summaries and transcripts and stuff. And then it was like, I don't really like selling to consumers. Like this is a hard game, like not a hard game, but like a very different game. And like, I don't see how much value there is in this. And I see all these ways that it's not defensible, and you just pivot and you pivot and you pivot and you pivot until it's like, oh, okay, now I found something that's not just monetizable, but defensible, unique in the landscape, so on and so forth. And that's the game, So anyway, back to your point. I think it makes sense to like follow the thing that you just described as like your happy place and your ikigai, and just like, you start to monetize it, and it could be completely wrong, like what you're offering as the product, but the market will inform you very quickly. Like you'll notice like, only like 2 people signed up and they only want to take the small tier of like what I have. But then like you pivoted a bit, and then all of a sudden people are like, I do want access to the $500 thing. And then I do want this. And you talk to enough people and it just starts to build itself quickly.
Yeah.
So I like that for you. I think it'd be awesome.
It'd be interesting to be like, hey, I want to do this again. How many of you guys want to pay $9 a month for like a Patreon for like maybe you get like a Discord or something, like just kind of a bare minimum thing. You get Discord, give you like the charts at the end of the episode or something,
right?
Whatever.
Just hold something back.
It'd be interesting to see.
Access to the trades. You give some trades for free, but some trades you got to pay for. Like little things like that.
Is it crazy how many people have actually like either messaged me or come up to me and realize since we stopped doing the last show and be like, oh my god, you're gonna bring that back.
YouTube comments every week, and when is Irresponsible Long coming back? And blah blah blah. It's
Yeah.
like I was gonna ask you guys like so.
And like, yeah,
You
I've
gonna
had
respond?
multiple people come up to me like, oh, "Thank you, you made me like hundreds of thousands of dollars last year." I was
yeah,
like,
so
oh, shit.
$9 a month. $9 a month in
I was like,
crypto.
first of all, you're a
First of all-
degenerate.
no, first of all, $9 a month in crypto is $0. I spend $300 on gas to do something. So don't talk to me about $9 a month anyway.
Yeah,
also,
that's
also
the,
try
that's
to
the,
try to get people to pay in crypto because then it really is nothing.
yeah, it's true. It's free in crypto,
It's free in crypto.
but like a lot of people aren't in crypto. You know, I don't know. Actually, a lot of our audience is in crypto. Most of our audience is in crypto. So,
Yeah, and you're probably going to be
so that
teaching
makes sense.
mostly crypto. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I think I could do a really good job if it was all I cared about, because I think it was a side thing in my brain before, and I still think we did like pretty good, both on this show and in that show. You know, like pretty much all the ideas were like very very good. We stopped the show before I wrecked myself on ETH, which was good. So people didn't even have to suffer through that with us. But yeah, I don't know. I see a path to it being a good business. Like I see what we've built in Alfalfa. I see the
course.
community. I see how much people like
There's
just being a
quality
part
here, dude.
of like trading. Like it's just like this, like the male urge to like group up with your boys and like try to make it
Yeah.
is like it's
yeah,
like one
that's
of the
a big part of it.
it's like one of the biggest things. Just like apes together strong, you know?
yeah, that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you just want to be surrounded by people that are like-minded, and you want to learn from someone who is different, who has a unique flavor and a unique perspective, and I think you have that. So it's like that's all it comes down to.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of like smart content on the internet for finance. I think there's a lot of really fucking stupid content
Oh, for
for
sure.
finance, especially in crypto.
Yeah,
I think we were feeling a good niche of being like smart but like also kind of stupid. But like we knew what was stupid. Like we knew what we were doing.
yeah,
It wasn't the illusion that it was smart degeneracy. We were taking some risks. We were learning along the way.
absolutely.
You know, and I think people like that.
Absolutely. So we have a couple other topics, dude. We
Yeah, we have a lot of other
we don't have
topics.
to get to them all. That was a fun little. Felt like we were very present.
What is speaking to you?
Trump on Rogan.
Trump on
A
Rogan.
little politics. Let's get a little politicky.
All right, we did put. All right, we'll just edit the title for the other one if we don't get to it.
What
We'll
was
see
it?
where it goes.
What-
A dead internet theory.
Let's talk about it.
Want to talk about it?
Well, I just want to hit this. Trump.
Wait, hold up.
I'm
I
more
gotta-
excited by this.
Nick is
Trump.
gonna get mad at me if I don't get the last to-do item out of the way here.
What do you got?
I think I have to. I have to do another read.
Oh, we have to thank
Yes.
a wonderful sponsor.
Yes. Everybody, check
Where's
out
your box.
Magic Spoon. That's going to be a GIF. Calcium's definitely making that. Yes, Magic Spoon, the keto-friendly adult cereal. No sugar, 140 calories, 24% your daily value of protein. Great flavors, cocoa, fruity, peanut butter, frosted. 45 grams of net carbs per serving. This stuff is freaking delicious. I love it. One of my favorite snacks. If you want to give it a try, go to magicspoon.com/alfalfa or use promo code alfalfa on the regular site at checkout to support the pod, get a discount. If you don't like it, if the kids don't like it, you can get your money back.
Get
No
your money
questions
back.
asked. So give it a try. It's freaking good, man. You get these nice graphics on the box. Their graphic designer just pops some acid and draws this stuff.
I'm popping hearts on the screen for
It's
you.
amazing.
while
Thank you.
read this.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I appreciate that, buddy.
Yeah, someone else's too.
All right.
Well done,
Um,
people. Well done.
Yeah. Let's talk about dead internet theory a little bit. Just
All right,
we can
fine.
touch on it a little bit. I wanted to talk about it because it related to what I was talking about earlier with the AI agents,
Okay.
right? So if you think about what's happening with the AI agents, right? You basically have these entities now that are doing inhuman things. They are 24/7 live streaming. They are 24/7 posting on Twitter, commenting, interacting on Twitter. Pretty soon there will be 24/7 like uploading video content to YouTube, doing all sorts of crazy stuff, right? So if you think about it, the internet, as far as like we consume the internet, I don't know about you, but the internet for me is like YouTube and X and stuff I click on from there. Like I'm not usually on Google browsing to websites. Like social media and YouTube, if you maybe you call that social media, that is the internet to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I already see the path to that becoming vast majority AI generated in a very short period of time. Dead internet theory, for people who aren't aware of this, it's this sort of like, some would call it like a fringe conspiracy theory. Like, I don't think it's like a fringe theory or a conspiracy theory. Maybe it's a little fringe. But it talks about how like a significant amount of the internet's, the content, the traffic, all of the interactions are basically just generated by bots, automated scripts, and just other sort of non-human entities. Like there's this illusion that there's all this stuff happening on the internet, but actually most of it is just air. And there's very little of like real substance there, in that there's like a standalone human just creating something or writing down his or her pure thoughts. And when I saw this, like I was like, okay, this resonates with me. The first thing I thought of was my background in e-commerce, in advertising, in SEO, right? SEO especially. When you think about when you do SEO, like one of the first things you realize is that it's like this game.
Mm-hmm.
It's this game of like gaming this gigantic algorithm. And if you dig into what actually goes into creating content, like it is just, once you look at how the sausage is made, you realize that it is in fact a sausage. This is not like grass-fed ribeye. Like somebody is, they have some like content team in the Philippines just churning out stuff, and they got a team like optimizing keywords and getting backlinks, and then you end up with this like product that is, it's like the equivalent of like processed food, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is like engineered in a particular way to be attractive to us and to be suitable to the sort of regulatory framework that it exists in. But it is like kind of fake. It is kind of like empty calories. And the same thing I think is true now in social media, maybe even more true with the way the algos are. You have all this content that is just kind of, it's processed content.
Yeah.
And the more processed that content is, the more easy it is to get like bots to create that content. Cause it is just like you're just like ticking the algo. You're just poking people's little rage stuff. And then like what is there at the end of the day? You just have these like bots and scripts or whatever, just like producing the stuff. And we're consuming these like empty posts, empty articles. And now like when we talk about what's happening with AI agents and crypto and everything, that is just getting kicked into to overdrive now. Like we've got AIs with 100,000 follower Twitter accounts just tweeting 24/7 and learning in real time in a way that has never been done before. What makes people react, what makes people comment, engage, and share, and producing all that. And like how long before we're just swimming in a sea of like absolute just fluff, nonsense, non-humanity.
Okay, so question.
Mm-hmm.
So what?
Good question.
Like, I don't get it.
I mean, why does it matter?
Yeah.
Right? It matters because I think we are humans.
Like, what are we worried about?
We're worried about basically becoming bots ourselves. And just, like, if all we do is wake up and interact with bots and AI agents, like, what happens to our humanity? And like, do we lose our own agency in the world? Like we just become these little pawns in this game. We end up in this world where these robots are evolving to just farm our attention, and then we just become. You ever see that meme with the old people in the casino just like tapping the slot machine buttons?
No.
It's a terrifying meme, but like, yeah, they just zoom out in the casino. There's like all these like old people at a slot machine. And they're all just like
Yeah.
just tapping the spin
I've
button.
seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what we already kind of do. But in this world, I see that just going into the complete overdrive, right? Like, do you not think this is bad if we are just living in this online
No.
world where nothing we are interacting with is real? None of the people are actually human.
I mean, like, first and foremost, it's the content that AI is generating is a derivative of all human knowledge. The
For
human
now.
knowledge that was created was a derivative of previous human knowledge. All people stand on the shoulders of the giants that came before them. And so no ideas are original. To what degree of creativity, I think what we're really talking about when we talk about this stuff is the human soul. Creativity, maybe some people would rather call it, that aren't, that don't like the word soul. What is it that makes human human? Well, maybe there's a muse that you tap into when you write the article or the essay, or you think about the music. And that is what we would like to hold on to. And I think we will. We will have human-generated content that will be a premium, and it will be awesome, and some people will love it. But I believe, and I agree, that 95% of content will be AI-generated. But what does that mean? All that means is taking the remixing that all those people were doing by outsourcing to the Philippines and doing the SEO work that you described and writing articles, but doing it better. It's going to be better. You know why? Because AI is smarter than us, and it will be soon. Generally speaking, it's passing exams that most people can't pass. Average intelligence of a human being is already surpassed. It will surpass, generally speaking, multimodally, all intelligence of all human beings. And so, like, we're not far from that. That's going to happen in this decade. And then we're going to have the opportunity to actually, like, have brain interface experiences where our brains are fully merged with the internet. Well, what is the internet? The internet is literally the store of all human knowledge and consciousness. That human knowledge and consciousness will continue to get developed by AI, organized, improved. Have this. Try this here. Yeah, I want some of that. Do you have a cup for us? Are you going to put that in the same cup you put your wine?
Yes. Yes,
That
it's
is
going to be
That is going to be interesting.
Nika from the barrel.
Nika
with
from the barrel with what?
Nika from the French
From
oak
Luce.
barrel.
It was a 2016 for those that were wondering. It was very good. Grippy tannins was one of the reviews.
I could definitely see why we were supposed to decant it for 5 hours.
Yeah. It was. It needed to.
I should probably read this
needed to
stuff
loosen
before
up.
I
It needed to loosen
buy them.
up.
It was a little tight.
It was
I wanted to express
tight like a tiger.
itself a little more.
It did its work though. It did its work in my mouth. So, I just think that AI is so foreign to people, but it's not. You created it. AI is a derivative of everything you and I are. That's all it is. It's a technology that is trained to perform on all human knowledge. Now, this data training that we talked about earlier will continue to improve. And by the way, what they're finding is it has nothing, these LLMs, their level of growth, the trajectory of growth, is not related to parameters. It's related to just data, good human data, the ability to continuously find and scrape and develop new data. But, that eventually will, there's a curve. and that curve will eventually like fizzle out. There won't be data to scrape and pull. And every year, though, we develop new data, obviously, right? With current events and new knowledge and new essays and new studies, we develop new data. So we're continuously adding to that data, but also we need to continue to train data based on pre-existing data that we're scraping, and that takes billions and billions of dollars. Sound like Donald Trump. Billions and billions of dollars.
Billions.
But this is the gift of AI. AI is taking all of that from the internet and turning it into something real, turning it into something agentic, turning it into something autonomous, turning it into something that will eventually you'll be able to really talk to and will be a brain hive of its own. And then we're going to be able to just truly merge and interface with that. So I'm not concerned about AI generated content at all. I think the majority of video, music, YouTube that you watch will be completely personalized and generated on the fly for you. You will prompt and say, I want to learn how to create a podcast that I can monetize that does this, that does that, that is in this niche, that does that. And you'll just get a freaking video that is just like in the voice that you prefer from 11 Labs, in the length that you prefer because that's the way you learn, with the charts that you need because that's the way you learn. Boom. Just like, that's fucking amazing. But that is all temporary because then you have brain internet data interface in the early 2030s, according to Ray Kurzweil. And that's when we drop the necessity to like actually sit there and listen and learn something. That's when it's just like you're interfacing with it on a real-time level and you have access to all the knowledge that ever is and ever will be. And all of humanity does as well, by the way. All of humanity will be truly accessing that democratized knowledge. So what happens? Everybody levels up. Anyone with an internet connection, which is everybody, levels up. So what happens to humanity? We're in the fucking singularity is what happens. That's the singularity. That's it. It's like 2030s, we're in the singularity. So I don't see at this point how we don't get there. Humanity, life is fucking exciting, man. The things we're going to see are so wild and exciting. Like, I'm so ready for it.
All right, I just gave you a rather dystopian prompt, and I'm trying to figure out how I just ended up in utopia. So
that's what I do, baby.
you don't think it's a problem if we live our lives online and we live in this like fraudulent world that's basically like 99% manufactured by like it's fraudulent in that according to this theory, we were having all these interactions, we're consuming all this content. There's this illusion that a bunch of humans with novel, unique ideas are producing stuff, right? When in reality, a lot of what we are consuming is like the same derivative shit recycled by bots or whatever. And then pretty soon we're going to enter a world where like AI agents do this, but like way better. And then like your whole Twitter feed might just be like the equivalent of these like Luna or these like truth terminal characters that are just like feeding you stuff in like a hyper engineered way to make you like interested or you know just captivated in a way where you can't look away, but it's all fake. Like this
is nonsense as a baseline idea.
But why? It's already happening.
It's not fraudulent. This thing is going to solve most of the disease. It's going to enable humans to live hundreds of years. It's going to solve climate change. It's going to come up with more elegant solutions for climate change than we ever could. Why? Because the capacity that it has to look at things, meta-analyses across time, the human brain is incapable of this. The human brain can't even agree on the most basic fundamental things. Everything has become politicized. Everything. Now, that doesn't mean that AI won't have bias. AI will have bias. In fact, I think we'll choose the AI we interact with based on its biases, because where does the bias come from? It comes from humans, comes from the data, comes from the training. There's always going to be bias, and that's not a problem. It's not a bug. It's a feature. That said, like, it's going to perform so much better at solving these problems because one brain trying to solve even if you get a smart room of 100 people together, it won't even come close to what AI will
Wait,
do.
hold on. I gotta play
It's
you
not
back a little bit.
fraudulent.
So, most people do not spend time on the internet solving problems. They spend time on the internet probably distracting themselves in a way.
Jerking off. Well, I mean, that is actually a fact.
Look, maybe.
I mean, I'm sorry. That's just
So-
it's just a fact.
I mean, like imagine your world, right? Imagine like you log on Twitter. Imagine you go on crypto Twitter. Maybe you don't, but imagine you're on crypto Twitter. You have all these main characters on crypto Twitter, but now they're all like AI generated. They were already like these like non people, right?
Yeah.
And now the AI has just figured out because it's run. It's like a trillion iterations of like managing social media accounts and posting and commenting, and it just knows so well how to create a Twitter persona and spawn off all these Twitter personas. And pretty
Now we're getting
soon,
somewhere. We don't need Steve-O, the real you. We need Steve-O, the Wizard of Oz, creating the Steve-O AI that people are interacting with. If you want to really future pace this, like that's what the world needs because that's what people want to tap into. That's going to be the AI generated content that you develop, that you're the brain behind, that's going to perform far better and be way more ubiquitous than you ever could because you can only produce a certain amount of content. So
But
I'm in
like-
support of what you're saying, even though you're saying this is a problem.
okay, so Armand wakes up, he logs on to Twitter, and he just interacts with a bunch of AI agents and feels good about it. But all of that is just not real humans. Then he's like bored at work and he opens up his Instagram feed and scrolls and there's like a bunch of thoughts, but all the thoughts they're also AI. They're not real either. And then he reads an article and the article was just generated by AI to make him think that it was profound, but in reality it was just kind of just some regurgitated, repackaged nonsense that like the AI has taken in.
You're
but,
not
like,
being accepting enough of the world that we're about to step into. Like you're talking about it like it's fake and it's fraudulent and it's not real. And you said the word not real. What do you mean not real? It's a derivative of everything you and I have ever said.
Okay. So as far as dead internet theory goes, do you agree, that like the majority of the internet now is already dead in a sense that it is basically bots, spam content, kind of regurgitated, repurposed, so, like the illusion of like real humans creating novel ideas. Do you agree with that? Like today,
I don't know. That's just a data question. I don't know what percentage that is.
Okay.
It doesn't feel that way.
That's
no.
fine. But
No.
but do you agree that we're going to get there? Like we're going to get to the point very quickly where like
Yes.
all of the stuff is just produced by non-humans.
Yeah, come on. I mean,
Yeah.
humans won't compete with that. There will be a symbol, blockchain solves this, and it's like, or just something where it's like, this was human generated. Dude, everything in your life is going to be created by AI and robots and technology. Like, okay, wine. There's going to be a winery that's going to be like human, crafted. And you're going to pay extra for that. All the other wineries are going to move toward robots doing perfect level wine, dropping the price, making it accessible.
This is different.
Clay.
This
No,
is
no, it's the
different.
same. It's the same.
No, it's not the same because you're talking about AI being leveraged to make stuff that is genuinely improving our lives, whereas like dead internet is talking about how
No, I see. I
a
went
lot
off
of this
topic.
stuff is just like filler, and we're like lost in the illusion that there is all this real stuff, but it's actually just all fake, repurposed. It's just engineered.
No, I'm not
to-
worried about the garbage because just like a Google algorithm sorted and knew what was most relevant and high quality, so will ChatGPT and the Perplexity. And if Google can figure its shit out, Google search results of the future. I'm not worried about garbage. It will always. And it's the point is that this is just content generated in order to then, through your personal AI, generate an answer that is most true for you based on what? How good of a prompter you are. And then how good of a relationship you have with your AI, because over time you're not going to prompt. It's just going to be based on who you are. It's just going to know what you need. And what is that going to be based on? How intelligent you are, your capacity for truth, to what degree you need it. It's all going to happen without you even really caring or thinking about it. So I'm not worried about dead internet, because there's enough good knowledge out there and enough good new knowledge will be created. I don't know what percentage though of like today, but I know that yes, definitely in the future, most of it will be generated.
I agree. Like, it's just from the way I see the current world. Like, we do have dead internet, and we, like, most people, like, to me, an extension of dead internet theory is like, does Erica love like trash TV?
Yes.
Yeah, like, so like every woman I know, and sorry if you don't fall into this bucket, but like every woman I know just fucking loves like trash. They love like Love Island and all this, just like love it. But that to me is like an extension of this. Like, we've sort of like, without the robots, probably with the aid of some data, right, that was aided by algos, right, have like, we've been like evolving trash content to the point where it's just like so fucking captivating to people, they can't help but watch it. Like, I just fear that this is going to worse, like accelerate. And like, although like some people like you are going to be able to like leverage this technology to ascend to the heavens of like intellectualism, and like I just feel like so many people are going to get dragged to the depths of Hades.
It's just the same thing though. It's like, if you're already watching trash, you're just going to get the trash you want, and it's going to be a bigger dopamine hit, and it's going to be even better for you. And if you're trying to ascend to the most unique knowledge and truths and, you know, having a little, you know, oracle in your pocket, you're going to get that. Or if you're somewhere in the middle, you're going to get that. It's like whatever you want.
But why won't it follow the path of drugs? Like, what you're saying is what people, right? But like with drugs, like if you looked at drugs in the 60s or something, right? It was just like people were freaking out, but people dropped acid. Yeah, some people lost their minds, or they smoked weed, but it was like whatever. But then you fast forward 5, 6, 7 decades, the weed has just evolved to the point where like some people just get like instant psychosis, like heroin like turns into fentanyl, and then everybody starts dying. The
spectrum will widen, but anyone who is already at the edge of the spectrum is just going to get more of that, and it's going to get worse for them. But those with self-control, which is what it is.
Yes, but isn't that bad for humanity as a whole? Because do you think like everybody has self-control? Like, I don't.
No, I don't think everybody has self-control. I think the addicts will suffer. Yeah, I think they will. Yeah, I mean, there will be counter movements though. We'll have like a rainforest that you go into to detox, and you'll pay $10,000, and there will be like a shaman there who has never seen a screen, and we'll be waiting for you, and you'll drop some acid, and you'll recover, and then you'll go through the whole process all over again, and then you'll drop back into the matrix, and then, you know, wait a couple years before you go back to the rainforest. There will be counter movements to self-regulate this, because it's going to get crazy. Dude, you and I will be sitting here doing this podcast, I guarantee you, in 5 to 10 years, and this conversation will be nothing. I think we're underestimating how wild this shit is going to get. We famously overestimate what can get done in a year, and we underestimate what can get done in a decade. It's going to be fucking bonkers. It's 2024. 2034 will be... it won't be incomprehensible.
I mean, the extreme of dead internet isn't so much that everybody gets just dazzled by stuff that makes them feel good and everything defraud to the point where it's going to end up where everybody has their own custom internet, right? Like you alluded to. It's just like everything you can imagine will just be tailor-made to make you feel happy. But like most people are going to choose, like, and that's like choosing to shoot yourself up with heroin, I feel like.
Right.
It's like, well, do you want to take the blue pill or the red pill? Like, do you want to actively choose to learn things or do stuff that like might make you feel uncomfortable, or do you want to just like watch Love Island like on crack all the time? Do you just want to escape life? Do you just want to just consume stuff that is just so made for you, just for you?
I think we'll be fine. It'll be like being a dog. It'll be like being a lovable little golden doodle. You know?
I don't want to live in a world where we're all just dogs.
And AI is just standing there.
It's not a
being
good
like,
outcome.
AI is just like...
I don't want to be a golden doodle.
I think AI is just like, you sweet little thing, you know? And it's, yeah.
I feel like you and I think the same thing's going to happen, except you seem to have this like sanguine like delight about it. And I'm like, it seems kind of bad. Like, I can't wait to be a golden doodle. Sounds
We're
so
just going to be dumb dogs, man.
Oh,
Just going to be dumb little dogs. It'll be fine. We're going to get pet. We're going to get our food. We're going to take it on walks. And AI is going to go out there and go interstellar, and some of us will get to go along on the spaceship, on Starship, and we'll be like running around the ship, you know, tackling each other and playing.
Yeah, you see,
And our
you're
AI
like laughing and
overlords-
joking about
our
this.
AI
This is not a good.
our AI
This
overlords
is not a
like
good ending.
calculating and Star Trekking, and we're just like, fuck, man, we're out in space. We're in another dimension. Oh my God, it's another civilization. What is that? They're nice to me. You just poop and you pee.
All right, you've already given up. You've already given up.
Nah, I don't really believe that, but that's kind of a nice idea.
All right, let's bring it home with a little dessert, because I know you wanted to chat about this a little bit. We got the news. I don't know if it was. Yeah, it was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Trump is doing Rogan Friday.
Bullish or bearish?
I mean, before we get into that, like, is this the biggest media event that has ever happened?
Ooh, I never asked myself that. Biggest media event that's ever happened. I mean, so it's the biggest platform that's ever been.
The
it's
biggest platform that's ever existed, and
it's
the biggest person in the biggest office.
Yeah. Then yes. I guess so.
It's pretty huge. It's like a it's a place that would have been hard to imagine we would have gotten to if we were talking about this
who
like
would
10
be
years
bigger?
ago.
Like if The Rock, no. Trump is more. It's more of a thing.
Yeah, like love him or hate him, he is the biggest thing in the world. Like, he's probably the most recognizable human on Earth.
Yeah,
right?
like you could argue like Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo are the next biggest like worldwide known icons, and that would not be as big of a deal.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like if Messi went on Rogan,
Wouldn't be as
nobody
big of a
would
deal.
I mean, people would care, but it wouldn't be a big
Yeah,
deal.
it'd be huge, but it wouldn't be like this.
This is a big deal, not just because of the person, because like just the like there's this merging of two worlds that did not merge. And you know, to Trump's credit, like one of the things he did was he merged worlds that were supposed to be separate before anybody else realized it was like a thing you could do, like the presidency or the people running
like
for it.
long-form interviews and like being part of the general conversation, the
Even
culture?
just tweeting,
yeah,
just
So, like, just entering
tweeting,
the-
like
entering the
tweeting
culture.
a meme.
yeah.
Like when the first time that happened, people were like, and now it's like a thing. It's like everything has changed so fast.
Yeah, you have to do it to be relevant now. No, it's big. It's really big. I'm glad Rogan's doing it. I saw a tweet that Kamala Harris turned it down. I don't know if that was real, but she was given the same offer apparently and turned it down. I don't know. Some people think like, okay, there's only a few weeks left till the election. Is this like going to hurt him, or is this good for him? I'm curious what you think. I think this only further. So he's the only candidate that does like these unscripted, long form interviews, and Kamala also started to do them, but only most recently, and they haven't been a positive trade off for her. It seems for the most part. Again, I don't know. Like maybe I'm getting my information from the wrong place. It depends who you talk to. But like her going and talking to call her daddy seemed to me to be a net negative, not positive. And that was like a long form interview she did talking to Alex Cooper.
I doubt it was negative, but like I don't see how it helped.
Yeah, I guess again that's why I'm like I'm uncertain because like my Twitter bubble, who knows? But when you look at Trump, I think he's seen as someone that shows his like you get to know him more and who he really is by watching him in a long form interview. And so some people say this is very good for him because he's going to just like talk to one of the best interviewers and like be seen in a new light by a lot of new people. And then it's like, well, does this show reach a lot of like single women voters that will like make a difference? Because that's who makes the difference right now, I think.
Okay, you say that, but like one of the more interesting factoids about this current election is that I think last election Trump won like white male voters by like 20 points.
So this is what I wanted to say is I think that what it's going to do is it's going to get people out to vote. It's going to get men, guys out to vote and be energized that otherwise wouldn't have been if they hadn't gotten their exposure through Rogan.
Right. Like he's actually like barely ahead with white men right now, which is like one of the weird factoids people wouldn't understand about this election if they weren't like chronically looking at it.
Yeah.
Trump has lost ground with white men en masse. Like if you look at polling data, which could be inaccurate, right? But like he's lost ground with white men, but he's gained a lot with like Latinos and blacks and like minorities. It's a very weird and nuanced and kind of counter narrative to what people are talking about.
Yeah.
So actually like the Rogan thing could help him tremendously because actually this demographic for him right now is like a big swing demographic. Like it could move the needle a lot.
Yeah.
Because Rogan's audience too, I think, is like
Rogan's
fairly middle of the road.
Yeah, it's moderate. It's a moderate. It's the normal sort of like non-extremist person. Rogan gets labeled as like a right-leaning guy by the left, but no, he's a moderate dude, and he's just like he's very alfalfa. He's just trying to figure it out, man. Like he's really just trying to figure it all out. He's open to talking to anybody. He's opinionated. He's going to call it like it is when he sees someone being stupid. He's going to call that stupid. But just because he calls someone who's left or right stupid doesn't mean he believes the other person is who he supports and who he votes for. So it's just a bunch of like, it's a moderate audience, but it's the biggest audience.
It's huge.
And
audience,
the independent audience is the biggest group that needs to make a decision. So it's going to be very interesting. I guess.
How do you think it goes for him? Like, do you think he does well?
I mean, I think Rogan knows how important this is, and that he needs to be seen as fair. So I think he's going to be cool, but I think he's going to grill him on some stuff, as he should. Like things he's genuinely like it would just be what I would do. I'd be like, hey, man, I don't agree with you on this. Like, I don't understand your position on this. Can you please explain it? And he'll be cordial about it, but he'll push back on things he doesn't understand. And that's exactly what I would do. I'd be like, Mr. President, like I just genuinely don't understand why you don't address. Like, just say there won't be a national abortion ban, and can we just, like, clear that up? Can we just clear that up? It'll just be a conversation like that.
Yeah.
And I think in the end, if Trump is honest, which he sometimes is not, and he's too political, it depends. It depends. I don't know how he'll show up. I don't know. Do you think he'll be, like, seen in a good light? Like, do you think... I think long-form podcasts are net positive, but no one's going to watch a 3-hour Trump interview. Only like 10,000 people will or whatever, and then everyone else is going to watch clips. So it's going to get like 5 million downloads, but I can guarantee you 2% of those people are watch the whole 3-hour interview, and then everyone else is just clips. So it's what the media does with it. The media will shape the narrative for people.
I actually feel like a large percentage of our audience falls into the category of left-leaning, open-minded person, like who actually would vote for him if he could simply make a good case and like assuage some concerns. And I think these people are also likely to listen to a 3-hour Rogan. I'm sure he won't do 3. He'll probably do like an hour or something, which is still like a long time.
I bet they'll go long.
How long was the Schultz?
I bet they'll go like 2 hours.
Okay, this is the weird thing about Trump too. Like, it's like
interviews, man.
The Lex interview should have been like the easiest interview because Lex is just like a bot and he just asks questions. But like the Lex interview was his worst. Like his Lex interview was terrible. But I thought his Schultz interview was like pretty good, and Schultz actually pushed him on stuff
because people mirror, and he's working, 70 hours a week right now, and so he shows up to an interview that feels like, welcome to the Lex Friedman show, and like he dropped down. He matched that tone and didn't really like.
So you feel like Trump felt like he just had to like fill space because Lex was so dead, and he was
Lex
just rambling to fill space.
Lex is just doesn't bring out the best necessarily in the person on the other side of the table, because it's like the energy's low, so you're not going to really like. And Schultz is like dynamic, and he's like making jokes and talking about everything. And
that's
like,
interesting.
It brings out the best.
Because I thought
Theo Vaughn interview
was
awesome.
Yeah, he was good on Theo
He's
Vaughn.
like all vulnerable and like, hey man, this is how I feel about this and that. And then Theo's like, yeah, you're a good guy. Let's talk about. I mean,
so
Trump
he's
is like,
actually done the best on
people.
the most kind of chaotic episodes, the ones where people like actually ask.
That's a human nature thing. If I'm sitting next to like a monotone, calm person, I'm gonna drop down.
It's not even that he dropped down on Lex. It's almost like he felt like he had to just keep fucking talking. Like he just kept
fill space.
Talking. He was just filling space. It's hard to listen to. It's awful.
Yeah.
But like on the Schultz,
like
he let Schultz just kind of go off on him a little bit too, which I thought was interesting. Like he actually let him like make some jokes.
My favorite was the Theo Vaughn.
Yeah, Theo Vaughn was good.
I'm starting to really like that guy. I didn't really know him, and I watched an interview with him and like a few now. And
dude, Theo, did you see the Theo Vaughn JD Vance interview?
I saw a clip.
Did you see where he was
I
like?
saw the clip where he broke down about Gaza and all this stuff.
JD?
No, sorry, that was with Gabor Mate.
Oh, okay, no,
never mind.
No, in the Theo Vaughn JD Vance interview, like there's like a clip where like Theo is just like, I just think it's like so fucked up that you just can't do cocaine in this country anymore. And I think he meant it in the sense that like you can't do it without being sure that it's not gonna kill you because it's laced with some shit.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
But like JD was kind of like, yeah, man, like he's kind of like was like, yeah, I agree. So it was, it's just we live in such weird.
Dude, we never got to talk about it, but I was like, didn't know what to think about JD Vance until I saw that VP debate. Oh my God, man. That guy's so impressive. He's very impressive.
Yeah, he's smart.
He's smart. He's sharp. I don't care what he believes. I don't care what his policies are, in the sense that, like, not that I'm saying I'm like voting for the guy. I'm just talking about the human being. When I look at that human being, I'm like, you're interesting. I would like to talk to you. I'd like to have discourse. I'd like to learn from you. I'd like to debate with you. I'd like to, you are a sharp individual who has done your homework. I respect him. Like, I look at that guy, I'm like, I respect you. Because I know that you're not just like fucking politicking me, and you're not wearing this like bullshit mask. You're wearing a mask. Everyone's wearing a mask.
Yeah.
But the mask he's wearing just feels a lot more down to earth. And like, I feel like I can actually sit and have a conversation with that guy.
Yeah.
All the others feel complete fugazi to me.
Yeah. It's interesting that, like, observing this dichotomy between like the Republican and Democratic ticket as it pertains just to the interviews, where you have like on the Trump side, you have people like talking about like fucking doing cocaine and shit, and people are just like laughing, and they're just sort of like acknowledging like they're talking to people who say stuff everybody is thinking, and then they're not sitting there being like, no, whatever. It's just like, yeah.
Well,
you know?
I think Kamala's doing the same thing. She's actually trying the same thing. She's laughing. She's making jokes. She's saying "yo-yo" in her interviews.
That's not the same thing.
It
though.
is the same thing. She's
No.
trying. They'll joke about drugs. They'll joke about. It's actually the same thing to a different audience. Let me put it this way: the audiences see it the same way. They feel it the same way. They're like, "You're cool. You're down to earth." That's how everybody sees it on their side.
No.
in their window.
What I mean is, like, on the one side, you can have JD, who's like kind of a religious guy, and he can just laugh about like a cocaine joke, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side, like, you have Kamala the other day, like she was on this interview, and they were just asking her, like, hey, like, did you ever notice that Joe Biden was like slipping? And this is a question that, like, every single person in America knows
Mm-hmm.
what the answer to this question is. Like, everybody knows that the guy, like, lost it. And he probably lost it for a while. And that she and everybody else in his circle saw it. And it was hidden from us. It's like one of these truths that, like, everybody knows. And in the old political paradigm, like, you used to live in this world where you just dance around this and, like, just like, oh, look over here, and you pull a bunny out of the hat and, like, move on and distract people. But we don't live in that world anymore. Now we live in the world where, like, people want the refreshing honesty
I know
about
what you're
the
trying
thing.
to say, but like the Republicans do the same thing. They dance around truths. J.D. Vance didn't answer certain questions in the debate that he didn't want to answer. Like he was just like,
Name one.
at the very end, he lost that. He got grilled about January 6th, and did the vote happen or whatever the question
No,
was.
but what is the truth about January 6th
I
that
know,
literally
I-
everybody knows that he didn't answer, right? Like, I'm talking about, like, we're going to get into a bit of a rabbit hole here. And I don't want to get too much of a rabbit hole,
I see the
right?
differentiation. I
But
see the difference. Yeah. I see
one
the
is
difference.
like a difference of opinion, or like you're viewing something in like a
everyone
charitable
saw
light.
Joe Biden and clearly was like he's not okay.
The man is clearly has like dementia, right?
Yeah.
And to say otherwise is to gaslight people. Like, I can make cases for a lot of the stuff he argued, and like maybe you wouldn't buy it, but I'm not like gaslighting the shit out of you in the same way where it's just like, Joe Biden is totally capable, right? And then like the follow-up question was then like, well, why are you here?
Yeah.
Right? Like it's everybody. It's a thing everybody knows. Everybody knows, and like we live in this facade, and like we have this weird dichotomy with like Trump and like her, because like she lives in the manufactured bubble world where like works with the media and everything, and she's like a acceptable candidate, and the machine works.
I know what you're
and then
saying,
like he's
dude.
outside that.
I know what you're saying. I just can't accept that only one side gaslights. They both gaslight. They're all politicians.
My
gaslight,
argument
too.
isn't
They
that
get Trump gaslighted Kamala in the presidential thing, and they all gaslight constantly when they're in the media. They're all lying.
No.
They're all
I don't
just-
want to do this both sides thing. What is the worst case of gaslighting you see on the right, genuinely?
Worst case I see. I don't know, on the tip of my toes.
Yeah. I know you don't know. And I'm sure somebody out there can be
Somebody
like, this
knows.
is gas.
Somebody
There's
will.
obviously gaslighting,
Yeah.
right? But is it gaslighting of the level of like, we literally let like millions of people in, and I was literally the border czar, and now I'm trying to tell you that like I'm tough on immigration, and actually it's Trump's fault? That's like high level gaslighting.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's like, nobody knew that Joe Biden was like, that's high level gaslighting. That's like we have to talk about the degrees of gaslighting, like level 10 gaslighting versus level 6 gaslighting, right?
Yeah.
Like I realize we live in a world of imperfect choices, but like, fuck, man, there's a level of inauthenticity on one side and a level of gaslighting on one side. I think that's
Well,
what people are
We're about to find
picking
out.
up on.
We're about to find out what the the people want.
But the people
Are
retarded.
retarded.
Can I still say the word?
Maybe. We'll see.
God. By the way, on a lighter note, I watched Step Brothers for the first time.
What?
Yeah. For the
No.
first time
No.
last week. Yeah, I swear to God. It's like
You
one
had-
of my
you-
weird...
You had never seen Step Brothers.
I had never seen Step Brothers. You know
That's
how we
a-
all have these like knowledge
That's
gaps?
a goat movie.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And like I watched it and a lot of stuff was like, oh, wow. Like, oh, that's where that comes from. Oh, that's where
I
that comes
bet.
from.
Yeah.
But one of the things that jumped out at me was just like how flippantly the F and R word were thrown around in that movie,
Yeah.
and not the F-U-C-K
No,
word
the
that
other
we
one.
can totally say all the time. But
Yeah,
the,
this wasn't that
but
long
the other
ago.
one, this is not that long ago, right?
Yeah.
This was just.
I think that was like the last of it. It
Yeah, I
was
like
around the
watched that and I
time-
was like, this is like the end of an era.
Yeah. Tropic Thunder too.
Yeah, we were doing blackface.
Tropic Thunder was
Just like 10 years ago.
wild. Yeah, I mean that's when we had. In my opinion, that's what we're fighting for in this election. Like, no, not the ability to say the R word. But
Damn, you
I mean,
stole my
like,
follow-up question.
I like the serious version is like we're fighting for the right to just like not have a police state of what you can and cannot say, therefore what you cannot think. We're trying to, the country is deciding how important free speech is. That's it, in my opinion. I know there's a lot of other policies. Well, I'm probably just like repeating a lot of like what
that is not what the country is deciding, because one side is literally saying the exact same thing you are, and they're using it to justify voting for the blue team.
Yeah, I caught that. It's what the right is saying is up for grabs. And I guess I do believe that is important. And I think that's something to vote for. I don't think it's end of the world catastrophic the way Elon talks about. I don't think it's the end of America. I don't think it's the end of democracy. I think that's bullshit. And that's like not gaslighting. It's just exaggerating to try to win a vote. So I don't think it's the end of the world and we're going to live in like, a totalitarian society if Democrats win. That's just wrong. And I think both of them are wrong about how bad it will get if the other one wins. Right? The left is saying if Trump wins, there's a dictator on day one, warmonger, gonna, take women's rights away. Well, that's not right. And it's also not right to say that like free speech will die completely. We'll live in a police state. We'll never have another two-party system. That's also not totally true. The answer is somewhere in the middle. Neither one is as bad as the other one says. But if I have to choose between trade-offs, if they're both slightly right but slightly wrong, the one I want to be more right is the one that has free speech as a value. I believe any level of free speech being taken away is the most important threat to democracy. That's what I believe. So you take people's right, like if someone wants to come in and be dictatorial and all that stuff, that's like, I don't know. I feel like society can deal with that. There are the checks and balances in place to deal with that. What I think we can't deal with is top-down control of speech and taking people's right away to have discourse. If that goes away, especially in an internet-led era, AI-led era, if regulation is going to be heavier, if regulation of speech is going to be heavier, humanity will have a much harder time evolving and surviving. So I'm in that camp. What about you?
I don't think free speech is the biggest danger. I think the biggest danger is like a very knowable, visible path. It's like right in front of you. Like the biggest danger is Democrats win the White House. They sweep both houses, right? What they do next, they have to do two very simple things, and then they basically entrench themselves for a long period of time, right? They let D.C. and Puerto Rico in as like states.
Mm-hmm.
They give them senators.
Just like a thing, though?
Yeah. They entrench a majority in the Senate, and then they pack the court. and then it's like kind of over until stuff gets so bad that you have some like crazy
Then it ends.
critical mass of uprising. But like,
Yeah.
you know, this is like stuff that like Balaji talks about with regards to California, and
Right.
and this can happen with either party, to be clear. Like, you can have such like control of one party in an area that they are able to actually rig the game.
I mean, this
within
is the
the rules.
one
This is
party
the way
result that Elon and Balaji and those are talking about, and I don't know if it's as bad as they say it will be. But if I play the other side of it, and if I know the threat from, if I'm a Democrat and I know the threat from Republicans is so severe, yeah, I'm probably going to try to accumulate as much power as I can. Like, that's not something I wouldn't do. I'd probably try to do that.
Yeah, I mean that is a root cause. This idea that your opponent is like literally Hitler, because if you actually believe your opponent is Hitler, you can literally justify anything, and everything is cool because you're stopping Hitler. Like, that is the root of the problem. Like, if people didn't believe that, then they wouldn't do this crazy shit. But people do believe it. But the problem is, although people believe it, like people you and I talk to believe it, the people at the top don't believe it. Because if
But
like
one side is calling one Hitler and the other side is calling the other one communist. So is it the like, you know,
no,
where's-
these
where-
are
is
like
it
very
chicken or-
different.
chicken or
these
the
are-
egg?
No, these are very different things. This is like another false equivalent. Like, a communist is not the same as like Hitler, right? Like
Well,
Hitler is a
kind of.
much worse
Mao-
degree.
No, Mao killed like a lot of fucking people.
Yeah,
And
like
so did Stalin. And like, communism's really bad. Communism's really
you
bad.
say communism is really bad, but like there's a large chunk of society that thinks like that are Marxists, that believe it's an act of good, whereas there's not like a large
That's
chunk
true.
of American society that
very
is like
true.
pro-Nazi,
It's
right?
like for some reason
so
acceptable.
one of these things is way more extreme, right? But
Yeah.
but the left, although people who support the left in this, like the people you and I talk to, believe this stuff, the people who disseminate this message don't believe it, right? Because if you really thought like Trump was a Nazi or he's a second coming of Hitler, you're not going to go to the Al Smith dinner and like make jokes about him.
Yeah.
You're not going to be Biden and put on a Trump hat jokingly, right? When he gets shot, you're not going to be like, oh, we shouldn't shoot him. Like, if he's Hitler, you'd be like, yeah, you shoot him. He's fucking Hitler, right? So it is, in one sense, it's like a bit of a fraud that they use. They whip people into a frenzy to get elected. And I understand Trump does the same thing. There's definitely fear mongering on the side of like immigrants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like, I would argue some of that is like directionally, just like directionally correct
It's so
in a particular way.
exaggerated, though.
So it is exaggerated, but like it's also.
But it's powerful.
It's also not
Yeah,
to
it
a
moves
degree.
the needle. It's powerful. You tell
know-
people that millions of people are coming into their country, and I mean, the funniest thing though is like when JD Vance was doing that interview, and the lady was like, "Only a few buildings have been like
Oh my god!
have been like
That
taken
was
over
like-
by, you know, militia, immigrant, migrant groups," and he's like, "Did you just acknowledge that and say it's okay? Like that a few." Anything more than
Martha
one-
Radich, right? She's like this,
Anything
like,
more than one
eminent
is a huge
journalist.
problem. It's
Yeah,
a
no.
huge problem.
Yeah, she's like,
it's
are you-
not okay.
Are you listening to yourself?
say a
Only
few.
5 apartment complexes were taken over by Venezuelan gangs.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
insane.
no,
It's
I
insane.
hear it.
No, it's powerful. It's powerful. They're exaggerating, obviously, but when you're a politician and you find a powerful narrative, you got to ride that baby. You gotta ride it. That's all they're doing.
I know. Like this stuff isn't that fucking simple. Like, obviously Trump isn't like this like magical unicorn character who's like only good. Like, he's obviously done a lot of bad stuff. He's obviously not purely good. Like, so in order to make the argument, you actually do have to have like a deep nuanced conversations. You have to say like, yes, I agree, this is bad and this is bad. But you can't just be like, oh, they're both bad, so who cares, right? You have to actually dig into the degrees of badness, and you have to
Yeah,
get into the
dude.
first principles. Like, why are you electing either of these candidates in the first place? Like, is
Yeah,
there
like-
like this like cancerous tumor that you believe has to be removed by one of these candidates? If that's the case, and you can like make that case,
Right.
then like you can justify a lot of stuff, but you have to actually like
all
make the
trade-offs,
case
man.
intellectually, right?
So-
You can't just be like, oh, he's
Exactly. At least we're having a fair, trying to have a fair conversation about it. Most people will just like talk about how it makes them feel, and that's why they're voting that way. Look, Trump is a grifter. Like, the guy's promoting some coin that like, we're in the crypto world. Do we know anyone in the Alfalfa community who's excited about this shit that he's promoting? No, it's a scam.
No,
He's a
it's
grifter.
grifty. It's
He's a
scammy.
grifter.
It's very
and like you're
scammy.
telling me this guy is supposed to be pro crypto and no one in crypto even cares about the thing he's talking about, and then he's selling steaks
everybody
and
I know in
shoes.
crypto who is a legitimate actor, to be fair, called that out and was like, this is
It's terrible.
scammy and grifty and terrible.
I know it's terrible. And then next week it's sneakers, and next week it's steaks. And I kind of get it. You're getting sued for like $500 million, and you need new revenue streams. So like, I actually get it. You know, so I don't really mind it in that regard. It's like you're a capitalist. You have like teams around you, like supporting stuff. But like, yeah, you could probably pick your products a little better and like how you promote yourself. But anyway, point is like neither one's good, perfect. The question is, what's going to be better for the future of humanity? That's it. It's a decision we're forced with. You know, which one takes us forward?
Seems like priority one: don't nuke ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't engage in active conflicts.
I
with
am
countries with
unequivocally
large
confident
nuclear
that
arsenals.
Trump is better for foreign policy.
I mean, the evidence before us.
Absolutely.
In practice, I know small
Absolutely.
sample size.
He-
Your sample size problem.
People say that what he did with North Korea was bad. Going there and stepping on their territory and shaking hands was bad. What are you talking about? That was... No, you just don't like the guy. That's why you're saying that. You don't like him, and that is clouding your judgment and making you stupid. The truth is that he established relationships and put that country in its place as well at the same time. If you have a foreign enemy, what is the absolute best way to deal with that person? Look them in the fucking eye, shake their fucking hand, and tell them where they need to stand
Be
and
like,
sit.
you have very large penis.
And even and build them up a little bit. Exactly, build them up a little bit, but also be like, hey, I'm in charge. I'm establishing relationships between us, but this is what's going to happen if you ever cross this line. Great leaders actually do that. He actually is good at that. He did that with Germany, right? He put them in their place. He was like, you're literally relying on Russia for all your energy. You're screwing us. The deal's unfair. You're not paying your fair share, speaking to NATO. This is going to change. We've hit the end of the line. If anyone hasn't seen that talk in that room when he's speaking to NATO and in particular signaling out Germany, that is strong business leadership. I don't see Kamala doing that. Why? Because everyone before her as well, because she's part of this machine, accepted those terms and only made them better for our partners. And he was the one that came in and was like, wait, this doesn't make sense. And see, this is where it starts to get, oh, Armand, so does this mean? You're like, no, I'm just speaking to specific things that I think would be better. And again, we only have two choices anyway. So foreign policy, deal making, negotiation. If you remove your own individual bias, economy, these are important things to us. And you could get into the nitty-gritty of the tariffs and all that, but certain things I think would be better. I think women are more comfortable with Kamala in charge and would feel better about their reproductive rights and their personal rights. And I think a lot of minorities feel better with Kamala in charge and think that she would actually have their interests at
Fewer
heart.
minorities than ever.
Yeah, it's changing. Yeah, it's changing.
Like, the Democrats have become a white elitist party. It's been like kind of fascinating to watch that it just happened. Like,
Yeah.
like the Democrats are a party where like white rich people are like the predominant part of the party, and the fucking Cheneys are there, and now the Republicans are like minorities and poor people, and like there's fucking Kennedy there. It's like everything went like whoop.
Yeah,
Just
and
total-
even like the black
total
community
180.
is starting to change. Like I forget, it was like Charles Barkley, someone really famous like basketball player, was like speaking in a podcast, and he was like, "Man, I've been Democrat my whole life for like 50 years. We've given for 50 years they've had the power. I've been Democrat my whole life. I've always voted for them. But like, has our community benefited from this? Has this gotten better for us?" I think I'm tired of it. I
Yeah,
want
the
to change.
Democratic Party was like a stock, and you measured the value of the stock by the value given to the black community over the last 60 years. The stock would be like zero. Like
Yeah.
nothing's happened. Like, there's been no progress.
That's true.
And they have been running. They've been like the CEOs, if you will, of that for forever. And there's been no progress there. All right. And if like the market was governing that, like if you were actually beholden to economics and the reality of numbers and progress, they would have been gone like a long time ago.
Right.
But like people are people. They're not like little calculators. They are emotional. They have these preconceived notions. There's a psychological element. So, and they're tribal, most importantly. So when like 96% of your tribe goes a particular way, it's hard to break away. But it's like that phenomenon with like the slow clap phenomenon, where it's just like initially nobody wants to clap, and then one guy claps, and then another guy claps, and then pretty soon after like 20 people start clapping, everybody's like, all right, I'll clap. Like, and you see that like unwinding happen, and that's, I think, what's happening right now. And you have this like crazy like realignment going on right before our eyes. And I think we're like mentally attached to the vision of the party we grew up with, and we just like attach those preconceived notions to what happens today. But fuck, man, like in reality, from like a policy standpoint, like Trump is very moderate. He's like, see, he would have been like a center left candidate for this party like a while ago, you know? He's like the most moderate person that's run with like an R in front of their name forever. And then
Right.
the other side is just like running the other way. Like, it's like the main thing people harp on is definitely the abortion and what they perceive as like racism, which like I don't agree with. And I think the stats on minority support would also tell you the market of minorities doesn't agree with. But if you like take away those two things, which I could argue, but like I'll give them to you, but like everything else is, it's like a moderate position. It's like where people are. It's where like the center of the country is largely. And I think that's why one party is shifted to like money and intellectual elites, and the other is like gone the other way. It's crazy to, yeah, it's crazy to watch.
Yeah, that
happen.
and the Diddy expose that's coming if she doesn't win. Diddy,
Oh, God,
Diddy
Diddy,
and
man.
Epstein.
I want to know what the hell
Dude, there's this gross video
happened.
I sent to you guys where Justin Bieber's with him. Another Justin Bieber Diddy video. Did you see that? Where he checks him for a wire?
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Dude, you are so guilty.
Diddy's
Only
a fed.
a guilty
Diddy's a fed, bro.
person.
Diddy was definitely a fed.
Only a guilty person.
He's the Black Epstein.
Crazy,
It's
man.
for sure.
Crazy.
It's also, it's funny like how
And he did it very professionally. Like,
We're so-
like
we're
someone
so-
who's done it 1,000 times.
Oh my God.
He knew like how to check for the wire and
I
all
just
that.
realized like I haven't switched the camera in like 20 minutes. Just been on you.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my God. While you monologued, it was.
I was
on
just
me?
monologuing. It was just your
Oh
face
my
like this. So I hope you weren't picking your nose. This is a hard
Great.
job, Eric. I
Great.
miss you. You are
Oh my God.
unsung hero of this podcast. To be able to seamlessly click these buttons. Whoop. Whoop.
Oh my God. So we're like 6 hours in, Steven.
6 hours. I know. I'm having such a good time though.
Yeah,
It feels like we're just hanging.
we are just hanging.
I don't
bro.
have anywhere to be. You know, people can stop listening whenever. Like I don't care. They want to listen to a 4-hour pod. That's cool. It's not like we're gonna like lose listen. It's not like people are gonna be like 4 hours unsubscribe. Fuck you.
I mean,
So disrespectful.
someone might.
There's always
I'm
like,
sure that grinds someone's gears, dude.
there's always somebody on the internet who's just it's just like
So do you want to wrap or you want to talk about this?
dude,
Elon.
I have nowhere to
Elon or
be. You
Chimps with
you
Nukes?
canceled men's night. I'm gonna go home and just sit on my couch like buzzed and watch pickleball on YouTube.
It sounds
Doesn't
like a
sound
hell
fun.
of a night, brother.
I know. I don't
Hell
want that
of a
for
night.
myself. I don't want that. I want to go
I-
out.
I
I want to
need
go out with the
I
boys
need
and
to
smoke some
be-
cigars.
I need to be a good husband.
But the boys have left me.
I've been traveling nonstop. I'm going to Portugal on Friday. I'm home for like 4 days, bro. After a week away, I'm trying to get some husband points. Yeah.
That's fair. Well, I drank all the Nika. We gotta
Okay.
find.
Drink
I
that.
gotta- if we're gonna keep going, I gotta
Drink that
find.
one.
Oh, the whiskey in the globe.
Yeah.
What is
It's
this?
good. It's like, I forget what I put in there, but it's good.
This is like Atlas holding up this.
Atlas shrugged.
All right.
You got to take the top
Oh,
off.
sorry, it's my first time.
Is the camera on you? Please make sure the camera's on you.
No, the camera's definitely on me. Everybody
Okay.
saw that.
Okay.
Everybody who's
good.
still here saw that.
Oh, boy. I think Nick and Eric are going to be upset that we went for 6 hours.
Oh, I don't care. I mean, it's gonna be fun editing the beginning of this pod.
Yeah. Thank you, Brendan. So, yeah, you want to talk about
What do you want to talk about?
Elon?
Oh, let's talk about.
Or you want
Elon.
to get into just like a closing, little
Actually, that's a good question.
heartfelt one, Von Deeper? It's important in life to go Von Deeper.
What is speaking to you at the moment?
What is
Do you
speaking?
do you want to talk about chimps with nukes, or do you want to talk about Elon bribing people to vote?
I mean, that's like still in the politics thing. Maybe we did enough politics. Yeah, let's go chimps with nukes.
Okay. All right. So chimps with nukes was a topic.
This submission, topic
This was-
submission
This is a
from the
submission.
Alfalfa community.
A submission, as I say when I'm not sober. A submission from the Discord. I forgot who dropped this one. Forgive
This
me.
was, we should find out. We should shout out.
Said pod topic beer and nukes. I guess it was called beer and nukes, but I called it chimps with nukes because that was kind of where this went. This is a theme I
It
think
was Stavi.
resonates.
Stavi was the
Stavi.
submission.
Okay. This resonates with the Alfalfa community, inspired by Stephen Hawking's observation that we are an advanced species of monkey living on an insignificant planet. Discussion would explore the irony of how, despite all our differences, we are essentially just chimps with the power to destroy the world, watching with a beer in hand.
Oh, that's good.
Is this funny to you?
Yeah, it's so funny. It's so funny. Fucking sentient beer drinking, nuke dropping monkeys.
I mean,
That's insane.
you can imagine what we
That's
look
so
like,
wild.
like if somebody was observing us from far away,
So
right? They're
wild.
like, "Oh, look at these." It's like if you're just watching like your dog. You're like, "Oh, look at these puppies. They're just playing with a ball." And then one day they like have nukes, and you're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! You're dogs."
Then they started tripping on
can't have nukes.
psychedelics. They started like fucking chopping each other's heads off. That wasn't good enough, so they developed technology to like make it more malicious and crazy and be able to kill multiple people at the same time. But then they're also like, praying to like mythological beings that they made up from stories. And then like, what? Like what? It's absolutely wild. And then they're like fighting over basic human rights, and then some of them, based on the color of their skin, have less rights, and then some of them get like mutilated, and there's genocides, and they get put in ovens.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
I mean, dude, no, it gets dark.
You cut against
And
me
then
like laughing
but
at
that's
that.
the contrast. Beer and nukes. It's like some humans got thrown in ovens, and then others, it's like over here, it's like they're just like, Nickelodeon, and like laughing it up, and like living in suburbia.
Wait,
and,
you're
like,
you're
having
using
a
you're
good
using
time.
Nickelodeon as an example of like the good side of humanity.
Yeah, it's just like the beer side. It's
Wow,
like it's
you
light,
uh,
it's easy. It's
you,
like
you clearly have not been down the
and
rabbit
then you
hole
got
of Nickelodeon.
Epstein Island. No, I don't know what that is. Then you got
Did you know
Epstein
that?
Island.
Did you know the Nickelodeon logo is Epstein Island?
No. Joke's on you.
I know. It's fucked up.
No, but
Look
like
it
the
up.
contrast is bonkers. And this still continues to happen. Gaza, Africa, China, all around the world, all the atrocities. And then on the other hand, and then, yeah, we're like literally on the brink of a potential world war.
Okay, but do you think we are
But
primarily
at the same time, we could
monkeys or
we could be
primarily
smoking a J
humans?
right now and laughing, and then recording a podcast. It's hilarious. So do I think?
Answer my question?
What's your question?
Are we primarily monkeys or are we primarily humans?
Well, we specied. We
what?
We specied.
Specied?
It's a technical verb. We were,
Like, oh god, I'm gonna species.
and we no longer are.
We are still very monkey.
I mean, technically speaking, we're not. Technically speaking, we're human.
Yeah,
We're Homo
technically
sapien.
speaking, we are genetically almost identical to monkeys.
I mean, sure. Technically speaking, a lot of things are similar from a DNA perspective. But we are a new species. And the reason I want to differentiate it is because I think we're also speciing into a new species. So, like, what is the species going to be when technology and AI takes over? Would you call that human or would you call that AI? Same question as, are we monkey or are we human? So we're speciing, we're continuing to species, and I think we're moving away from like a survival of the fittest mentality. We'll see. Like, it's a whole new game now of how we species. So I don't know. I think we're a little bit of both. Obviously, we're monkey and human. We've evolved away though. Like, I mean, the fact that we have awareness of self, we pray, we have the capacity to do good, to love one another. So animals have some of these attributes, of course, but like that awareness of self. I mean, that's the interesting thing. Is like I was talking to someone last week about this. Do dogs have awareness of their lives? Do you think? Do certain animals?
No, dogs do not have awareness.
Think they have no awareness? That they
No, I don't
exist?
think dogs have like theory of mind. I don't think dogs get when they look in a mirror that it's them.
Okay. You think apes do?
I think apes do have that.
Yeah, it seems like that. Definitely.
I'm no
You could
Jane
say,
Goodall, but
Dolphins might. Killer whales, orcas, certain whales might. They definitely seem to. They're singing down there, So I look at I actually think a human is limited by the brain, the size of the brain. And so like AI and technology is just like a expansion opportunity of that, especially when we can interface with the internet through our brains. And we're not limited by the size of the brain and we're not limited by our bandwidth. That's going to change the species. So what happens then? Do we evolve past all this stuff and stop nuking each other? I don't know. But it is wild to think like the irony of like what we are. We're monkeys with drinking beer to relax and have a good time and doing drugs. And we can also have the capacity for love, but we also have the capacity to like kill each other.
yeah. It's weird. I feel like when we were in the wild, we were playing power games, right? And all the animals sought to kind of overtake the other animals with power. And they would, you in the most raw form, you would just simply just kill your opponents, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was very individualistic. But like as we've evolved, when we talk about like the power game now, the power games are being played by what like Alex Jones would call globalists, right? So there are still people vying for like power and complete subjugation of the human species, but now they're doing it like under the auspices of like globalism, of collectivism, of like uniting everybody together, which I think is like a weird wrinkle in the species.
Hmm.
And then the people who are the most individualistic are actually the least concerned with power. They want to live by themselves on their ranch in Utah and like shoot their guns.
Hmm.
It's been this like weird flipping of the thing. Whereas like in the wild, the collectivists originally were the first humans who evolved to like stay together in groups for like survival.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like not the domineering ones initially. But then of course like tribes would get powerful and then those tribes would overrun other tribes. It's been like a weird seesaw.
I used to be like this, not technically speaking, but like philosophically speaking, globalist. Because the world is clearly leading toward like isolationism and borders and policies are changing and economies are changing and trade is changing. And that just might be like a sign of the cyclical times. And I'm like kind of in some ways for it because I think the times require it. But when you really zoom out and look at humanity, like, of course we should be like globalist in our approach and our thinking. We're trying to become an interstellar
Wait.
spacefaring.
Why is that? And of course.
Because I think that if as one species there should be alignment. Like, why not?
No.
I know you were just kind of highlighting that, but like help me see why unification and coordination of one species is bad.
I think the most powerful thing we did as a species was to invent like the markets, the right to free association, and like most importantly the right to exit. And it is the right to exit a society that keeps all other societies in check, right? Like if you have the free flow of individuals throughout Earth, like you can't have like a despot truly take control because like people will exit that society and that society will collapse. But when you talk about having a complete new world global order, well, nobody can exit because the entire fucking Earth, like unless you go full Star Wars and people just jet off that Tatooine or something, like there's no exit. And the inability to exit is what like actually entrenches power. There's this like illusion that it makes everybody stronger or like united or we solve all these problems, but it's like actually very destructive at its core, and it leads to the consolidation of power for like an elite few.
But the moment that another civilization is sort of discovered, like it's game on for unification.
What civilization? Like out like a different planet?
Yeah.
In what world in a global order are people going to be able to jet set off to like a new civilization on a distant planet?
I am simply saying that if we're out there in the stars, the unification of this species and a globalist mentality is going to benefit. You don't want 7 different tribes necessarily out there representing planet Earth. You want there to be some world order so everything you said makes sense. There's no exiting the game, but there's exiting the game the moment that there is another civilization out there to compare to or to potentially become part of. So I actually like your point. I agree. I see now like potentially the fault with ever there being a sort of like global order. I get that. But that changes in the future.
No, it doesn't change.
It does change.
I think if you go...
It's going to be
if you're
planet
interplanetary...
Earth, not planet USA.
No, you do not want some one monolithic version of... How would you even describe what Earth is to like a foreign... You're going to have one faction
in Dune,
tell like a foreign species what Earth is?
In Dune, you don't have like 7 tribes in Arrakis or whatever, like representing Arrakis. You have like, and I don't even remember all the names, but like... It's one. It's just like it's one.
Yeah, it's one that like took power and subjugated everybody else and imposed their vision.
Yeah.
But that's not good.
But that's what happens.
Right,
So,
that's
what
what
does that mean?
happens,
Does that
but
mean,
that-
like,
that
China
is-
wins, U.S. wins, and then that becomes planet Earth? Maybe.
But that is why the American experiment was like good and novel and crazy and like different from how all of humanity had basically operated before
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
So like
So-
I don't think we
so-
should veer away from that.
Okay, so what do you think about this irony of like beer and nukes though? Like the fact that this is what we are. We have the capacity to like literally sit on a porch, drink a beer, but also like end the planet and kill each other all.
It's a hilarious juxtaposition, right? The idea that we figured out how to split the atom and like annihilate ourselves, but like also we are like basically like monkeys. Like most of everything we do in our day-to-day lives is governed by our monkey brain.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of it's kind of funny.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't help laughing when I thought about it. I feel like it really hit me for the first time. You know, it's the juxtaposition is alarming to say the least. But it kind of makes sense. It's like it's like that social media account, Nature is Metal.
Oh, it's such a good account.
So there's like Nature is Metal, and then there's like, penguins in love and like staying together for a lifetime on another account, and like koalas, or pandas cuddling. It's serious juxtaposition, or like, yeah, that exists. I think that's nature. I think that's nature to a certain degree. Maybe that's all it is. Maybe nukes are just like representative of like a fucking jaguar hunting a, alligator in the water, creeping up on it, just boom, like eradicating it. And then like on the other side, it's like, partnership and love and having like some psychedelics in the forest, eating some plants. Aren't there animals that like trip out? Oh yeah, there's plenty.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, they just trip balls for fun. And they have been for a while.
Have you ever considered the possibility that nukes are actually like very bullish for humanity?
Yes.
So, what is your take on why nukes are bullish? I want to see if it matches mine.
Just simply that I think it leads to a sort of like homeostasis where people catch up and consciousness catches up to realizing like the impact of this and like who should have it. And I think humanity will reach a point where it's either completely obliterated, which I don't think will happen, but like everyone has them and they'll just be like a true sort of like treaty of like this shall never be used in combat and it'll be okay. So it like actually provides a ceiling. It's like a ceiling on what's possible and it removes that ceiling. So like everything else like becomes a different type of like kinetic warfare. And so knowing what the ceiling is and deciding together that those won't be used, I think can be bullish, especially because we've seen it to a certain degree. Like we haven't seen what these nukes are capable of, but we know that it's worse than what happened in Hiroshima. We know it's worse.
We've seen it. It's fucking crazy. Like we use the Hiroshima nuke just to detonate the new nukes. Like that's how they work. It's like how does like a hydrogen bomb works? Like you use a fucking nuke to set off. That's just to initiate the chain reaction.
Yeah,
it's
Jesus-
fucking crazy.
Jesus
there are
Christ.
orders of magnitude
Jesus Christ.
more destructive. Did
Yeah.
you ever read or listen? Did you ever listen to the? Did we talk about nuclear apocalypse like a scenario when you were here?
I don't know.
It's this book. It's crazy. If you don't want to read the book, she did an interview on the Sean Ryan podcast, which I love, by the way. I just started listening to it. Like, amazing podcast. Just crazy shit. But she did, like, nuclear apocalypse scenario, and it is very sobering to listen to because it just really makes
Yeah, then
the
no,
reality
I
of it,
haven't.
like, very stark. Like, there's basically no scenario where anybody launches any sort of nuke
Yeah,
anywhere
that
on Earth
doesn't-
where like humanity doesn't like effectively end.
So what is your bullish case for nukes?
The bullish case on nukes is similar to the bullish case on guns.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the
interesting things about guns. For example, before guns existed, there was this inherent like divergence in the physical capabilities of like men and women, for example. And there was no scenario like in the wild where like your first, second standard deviation woman could like defend herself realistically against an average man, like maybe even like a third standard deviation woman. Like, I don't know. But you introduce like firearms, right? And this just like levels the playing field. It like suddenly allows somebody to respond with overwhelming force and basically creates the situation where somebody can't engage because you might respond with overwhelming force. Now, nukes are a little worse. Well, they're a lot worse because it's analogous to like, okay, you get mugged on the street and then you use your gun, but actually humanity dies. So it's not quite the same. But it's like a similar effect where you have this like power creep going on and like the powerful just keep imposing their will on the less powerful. But then like everybody gets these weapons of mass destructions and suddenly it doesn't matter how powerful you are. If you cross the line, it's over for you and it's over for everybody. It's just like over. So it like creates these constraints for humanity to operate in that never existed before, which in some ways I think is interesting. It like forces people to coexist that in a prior world, like one entity would have just sought to literally just conquer the other. And I actually wonder what would happen. Like if everybody just had nukes, probably bad because I think you get into the realm where like rational nation states, like they leak to irrational actors who may be of like a religious bent where they don't even believe in the current world. They're living for the afterlife, and then everything goes to hell very quickly. So that's where I think things get off the rails. But if you just stay within the realm of like rational international state actors, it's like,
so basically what I think, but just much
forces
more,
us to cooperate in a way with a sense of urgency
much more eloquently said.
Maybe like I may listen to this back and be like, that's fucking stupid.
No, I said I said an uneloquent version of the same thing, so I agree with you. Haven't put as much thought into it, but I basically think the same thing. I think of it as like checks and balances on humanity. You know?
Yeah. Like sometimes you need a gun put to your head.
Yeah.
You need to feel the urgency, especially like it's like a human thing. You need to feel like everything is on the line. Like we've done most of our great stuff as a nation, as a species, under extreme duress. We're actually able to accomplish very little in periods of like abundance or safety. It's not conducive to us doing great things. Now we're obviously playing with fire because we're talking about like ending our entire existence.
Right.
And it's akin to gambling your whole portfolio on like a meme coin. Like you have to stay in the game. You can't put 100% on one thing because you can come back from negative 98%. You can't come back from negative 100%. You're just gone. And that is the delicate balance. Can you lose enough to get hurt? Can you feel what that pain would feel like and use that to leverage it into growth or into something positive? And like an overwhelming existential dread or the overwhelming reality of like actual like death is like a powerful motivator.
Totally.
It's a powerful equalizer.
Yeah. I think people that's why I assign a low probability to the nuclear thing. I think people can be very stupid. But I think they're not that stupid that they don't realize what's at stake. So everyone knows there's a limit to their insanity and the games they play in the court of life, even in politics. So, yeah. My ass is numb, brother, and I have to pee-pee.
Okay. Well, I guess on that note, we can
As the
probably wrap
dads
it.
say.
I think we hit the high score. This is
we might have.
Longest
Is
episode
there
ever.
like a correlation between less people and more time? I thought it would have been shorter.
I mean, we were actually still over 31 viewers in the end there.
Wow. Okay. So,
So
we'll cut the beginning
people stuck through the whole thing
we'll
live.
cut the beginning for those of you that had to go through.
Or maybe we won't because
As Marty says, the
executing is
dumbs.
hard. I
There's
know.
a lot of dumbs out there.
I
but,
know.
You know, you gotta have hope.
Thank you, Marty, for that.
So
Oh my God, I forgot to switch the camera again. God,
Oh.
so hard,
Jesus,
so hard.
who's it
Can-
been on, me or you?
Can this not be automated with like AI? Like, come on.
No, beer
You
and
talk,
Nukes,
camera
bro.
switch.
This
It's
is
like
the
it's in
beer.
the Zoom.
I know.
Zoom has it. All right. Anyway,
Well,
thank you to everybody who
guys.
stuck it out
Yeah.
till the end of this. You are truly a champion. You deserve some sort of POAP or badge or something if you stayed through that episode. I hope you liked it.
You get a hug.
Yeah. If you guys are
Yeah.
not already following us on YouTube, please subscribe. Please join the Discord where we talk about this shit all day,
Yep.
every day at alfalfapod.com. Am I forgetting anything? Probably.
No, I don't think so.
Armand is telling you goodbye. Goodbye,
Love
everybody.
you long time.
Thank you so much. We love you. We'll
We
see you
love
next week.
Peace.